What's going on? What's going on, family? It's your boy Agent Dynamite on the Living Legend, man. We are here today, man, for the Dirt to Dollars workshop. Man, listen, I don't know about y'all, man, but it kind of feels like COVID. And we all inside the house. I know some of y'all still got on bedroom slippers and pajamas. Come on, man. You know how it was in COVID. We just put on a t-shirt and the top and be ready to go. Man, that's how it feels. But this is super cool, man. God is so good. Hope everybody is safe and everybody's in a good place in your homes comfortably. As you know, we had already had a event planned to go live for the base workshop here in Charlotte for the very first time. We started out this week talk about the 5 P's: proper preparation prevents poor performance. As we prepared to do this event live, everything set up, had the room set for 50. It was already at maximum capacity. Then we start getting, state of emergencies coming through Texas and 39 states across the southeastern region saying that, hey, listen, it may not be safe, right? Which we know, like, it's a blizzard in North Carolina right now. Yeah, right. If you're in North Carolina, it's just as sunny as hot outside as all get out. Everybody's scattering to get eggs and milk and everything else, right? But we know some areas that will be affected. So we had to make an executive decision to make sure everybody that was coming to support was safe across the board. And so, when life give you lemons, you make lemonade, right? And so we took this opportunity to be in the house, right, and be able to broadcast this out to even more people, right? That was the blessing of what happened in the situation. So now, even those individuals who couldn't be in that 50, right, to be in the room, now you have an opportunity to be able to see that, the Dirt to Dollar workshop and how to do new construction build. We have members from my team that's still going to come in live from their respective homes to be able to bring this information to you. So, get a pen, get a pad, get ready, because this deal is going to be phenomenal, right? So you got a couple of minutes to be able to tune in. We got about 5 minutes. We're going to give everybody an opportunity to get in position, and then we're going to have this deal ready to go. But guys, I'm telling you, this is going to be jam-packed all day long for the next 3 hours. You're going to get some information that can absolutely revolutionize your life. I'm telling you, you don't need a whole lot of time, right, to make a decision. A decision is instantly, right? You can get the right information, that one nugget, that one gem, that one key to unlock some of the things you might have been struggling with. Is all it typically takes, right? Is just to take something serious. So wherever you are, I hope you're taking this time absolutely serious. You have some time to be able to send the link out to a couple of friends and family. It's open for the community. God has been so good to this community, what we've done, over throughout 2025, but just keeping our head down, staying committed to the grind, and to be able to build what we call Project 100, which you're going to hear a lot about today. Was 100 affordable houses that we did all throughout Texas, in the lower copy area of Houston, Texas, and within a mile and a half to 2 square blocks. So you're going to see videos of that today. And so one thing we all understand: documentation beat conversation, right? And so we're going to show you exactly how we was able to buy dirt, subdivide the lots, to be able to put things in place to build subdivisions, right? So if you on the line right now and you want to build a subdivision and you want to create residual income for your family, put a 7 in the chat if you're still live. I see everybody still coming in. Guys, that's what this is about. And then a lot of base merch, you're going to see that number 7 all throughout our merch that we'll share with you this week as well, today, as well, because that's the number of completion, right? Being able to start something and finish something. So one thing we pride ourselves on is that it wasn't just an idea. It wasn't just a concept, right? We came up with that vision and that concept, and it went full circle and completed. And so in this workshop today, you're going to see from dirt to dollars, right? From buying a piece of dirt, subdividing, talking with architects. How do you get your capital in place? How do you leverage that situation to vet the deal to make sure the numbers is right? And then go all the way to the end, to the dollars, right? Where you actually monetize it. That's what this workshop is for today. That's what this webinar is for. And we're grateful, right, that everything happened for a reason, that even the people who saw the marketing, you saw the advertisements, but you wasn't able to get into the room, right? Now you have that opportunity from the comfort of your home to be able to take notes, be able to ask the right questions. At the end, if we have enough time, we may open up for a little bit of Q&A. But as I said, it's going to be jam-packed today with information to make sure we give you visuals, we give you some understanding, and then you get a chance to be able to hear from a couple of experts, right? So as of right now, It is 2:06, right? So we're gonna roll right into this deal, man. The gentleman that's gonna come up before you in just a moment is my business partner. Base is Bilbo and Sloan Enterprises. So as you know, I'm Agent Dynamite Sloan. The other half of Base is Mr. Terrell Bilbo. I'm talking about the gentleman is a national consultant, internationally doing what he's done in the crypto space, been in the real estate space over 22 years, running mortgage companies, being in a position to understand how to vet deals in and out, from doing, fix and flips, from wholesaling to now in a position where he's doing new construction builds. And, it's a blessing to be able to have somebody on your team who knows the space, right? Who just can breathe it and have stories, you know what I mean, about experiences, because that's what you want on your team. People that's been through the fire and been battle tested, right? And understand the climate to make it happen. So without any further ado, right, I'm gonna get off the screen. Mr. Bilbo is going to bring up a video real quick to kind of show some of our students of how they feel about the base program. And he's going to get right into it to show you guys how to vet a deal. So again, listen, I ain't going to say kick back and relax. I'm going to say sit upright, right? Get you some water, get a pen and pad, and let's get to it, man. Let's show you how to turn dirts into dollars. We got 3 hours to give you some jam-packed information, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get it. All right, Mr. Bilbo, let's go, sir.
I got in here in Base through Brooks and Davis, and since I was introduced to Base, the amazing things that they're doing, it was a no-brainer.
My initial thought was I had already participated in the phone call, so I thought I knew the material. Well, when I got here, what I experienced was more than I expected.
I met the brothers at the Black Wall Street conference, and they invited me here, and baby, I'm so glad to have been in the room.
First of all, it helps that I know the presenters, the owners, and wanted to come and support, but didn't realize I would get so much information from myself.
A wealth of information. Like the flyer said, there's 150 years of education, knowledge, experience, and it was all brought to us in the last 2 days.
Base, first of all, I love the heart that they come with to this, to this environment. They really are true to wanting to serve the community, and I want to be a part of something like that. So I want to lead by example, but I want to be connected with people who are leaders and are people-centered, community-centered.
There are builders, pro tax professionals, legacy builders, all for us right here this day in Houston.
Oh, very impactful, very impactful. Well, they got to reaffirm a lot of things that I've learned over the years, and I'm glad to see the younger generation take charge of what's happening, and it's going to be very beneficial, and it's stuff I can take back to the Mississippi Delta.
The knowledge, there was a lot of things that I just did not know, and there's simple things, there's simple steps that we can take to be successful in real estate and in life, and they presented that to us today. So I'm grateful to be here.
We have been in real estate now for about 3 years, and we found ourselves to have some success, but we just needed a team behind us and more knowledge to get us over the hurdle, and I think we found that at Base.
Yes.
The professionals they brought in live, their detail, the clarity that they brought to the concept was incredible. And also the other attendees, they had questions and perspectives that I hadn't considered, so that expanded my thinking. So what I learned here in the networking and as an attendee, those things can be transferred to my future business transactions and throughout my life. So that's why being here live mattered.
The most impactful thing I learned of this weekend is definitely about the life insurance and the trust, and about the veterans. How a lot of our veterans today are missing out, just a lack of knowledge and don't understand how they can build wealth and leverage what they have with their VA benefits.
I really honed in to the veteran speaker who gave us so much information about how veterans can become homeowners, they can become investors, and et cetera with a VA loan.
The most impactful is realizing that I actually can afford to be a homeowner, being a single woman in Houston. And being an empty nester, I wanted to have something that my children can come back to if they need to ever return back home. So it's something that I definitely will share with friends of mine that have had the same fear as myself out here with the housing market right now.
Affordable housing is possible, y'all. Not only is it possible, it's happening. And Base Financial is heading it up, y'all. You better learn more about Base because, baby, they are the truth.
Listen, if you're on the fence, simply just come, jump on a call, come to an event, see it for yourself.
Worst that can happen is you don't find anything useful for yourself, but you'll definitely learn something for someone else that you may know that need the information.
We always finding things skeptical. I think we actually came here thinking that someone was going to sell us something, and that was not the case. We gained so much valuable knowledge in this space, and the networking that we just got within 2 days has been extremely great for us in this moment. We're feeling really excited about the next step with Base.
If you're on the fence about joining, you need to come and experience it. You need to take the time out, invest in yourself, and see what it's all about. One thing that they do, they bring value before you decide to buy anything. And that's what I love. You're going to get everything that you need before, so you can make a decision.
I promise you, you do not want to miss out because the future is coming one way or the other, and they're here to build it. And I'm here today to say that I got in when they started. Don't wait too late, otherwise you're going to miss the ship.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff. Hope you guys enjoy that testimonial video. Mr. Bill will be coming up here next and going to be able to talk to you guys real quick about how to vet a deal. If you got some value out of that, guys, put a one in the chat. As you see, many of our mentees across the country, what they've been able to enjoy and how they view the base experience over this year, guys. So Mr. Bill will be right up. He's going to bring up his slides and go through you guys on how to properly vet a deal.
Are we back?
Yep, you good, brother.
Man, this here. Okay.
Oh, like we having some technical challenges. I seen your presentation come up. Your slides came up. And then you went out there for a second. You need to regroup it.
Let me see. All right. Can we see each other?
Your slides is pulling up now. I give you the cue in just a second. Boy, technology gonna be what it's gonna be, ain't it? You must be in the middle of that blowing storm down there in Houston. Come on. We ain't gonna let it interfere with your flow. All right, it's loading up. Your presentation is loading.
Yeah, you're breaking up real bad too, bro. What?
Oh, that thing is. All right, let me see it there. Let me go over to the comments real quick. All right, can you guys hear us okay. You guys gonna have to help us out. We don't know if you guys can hear us or not. You all let me know. Okay. All right, they say my sound is very clear. I appreciate that, John. What's up, brother? Said mine is very clear. All right, so it looked like we're having some sounds issue on Bilbo's side. Their signal out there may be having an issue is what it's looking like. All right, let's give them a couple minutes be able to get that cleared up. Loud and clear. All right. Miss Priscilla Surgeon, what's going on, sister? How you doing? Hey, when I sent you that message that we were still going over here, like he was excited about that. I said, let me send this to you directly. Let me make sure you know that we are good. Again, you know, life give you limits. You got to give it lemonade. You got to turn it around and be able to make it do what it need to get done. You know, I was definitely looking forward to see you in person. Miss Surgeon is a great real estate agent out there in the Fayetteville market. I mean, one of the best you want to have in your business, and definitely good. All right, good. And definitely understand the veteran process too of how to be able to work with veterans. So this is another part about the base community that we pride ourselves on. There's so many professionals and so many different directions that inside our coalition, you can find somebody pretty much in whatever market, whatever skill set to be able to do deals together. And so this is something that's very, very good to have when you have a group of individuals that could come together. So while Bilbo is pulling this stuff back up, guys, you know, you're going to see the presentation about midday, right? We're going to go through the base overview, the deal flows that we created, and how you can partner on, even in the community, partner with different individuals of like mind to be able to take down a property, right? So you guys help me in the chat while Mr. Bilbo is getting situated. Put a comment in the chat of those of you who've already done some level of real estate investing. I just want to know who I'm talking to out there. If you've done some real estate deals before and real estate investments, put it in the chat and let me know. Just put a 1 in the chat if you're a person, so I can understand the audience, that you've done either a fix or flip, a wholesaling opportunity. You know, it might even be new construction. If you've done some level of real estate development in the past, because a lot of this information is going to be targeted that it's going to be able to help sharpen your axe. All right, Bill, but I can see your slide now, brother. I can see your slides at least. All right, you making some traction. All right, once I get your sound back, then you'll be cool. But your presentation is clear. All right.
Still no sound?
No, your presentation was cool. And so I can see your presentation slides.
But can you hear me though?
Not yet. You want to go ahead and pop your slides in? We're trying to work with this thing for y'all, man. Bear with us. We're trying to work with this thing. Okay. Oh, Priscilla says she can hear both of us now. So put your presentation back in, see.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep. All right, now we good. Man, come on, man. Give it a round of applause, man.
Man.
That's what happened when the boy engineer, man. He gonna figure it out.
You would think with this background, I'll be able to mitigate some of these things where it wouldn't happen. Jeez. Hey, but we're gonna push through regardless, bro.
All I just says is that you're human, right? You know, we got to deal with what's going on. All right, I'm gonna go backstage, man. You got it, brother.
All right, good deal, man, guys. All right, so we will not be denied today. All right, so guys, Terrell Bilbo again. I'm the guy he talks about. This is my partner. And I always got to give it back to my partner, man. I always say in business, and what I've been really, really excited about and really grateful for is when you have the right partner and you have the right people around you, it's a peace of mind, and then you can go so much further than trying to go at alone or with the wrong person around you or the wrong people around you. So I always got to give it to my brother Sloan. You know, we've Base has been on a run for about 10 months, you know, and the things that we've been able to create together and over these last 10 months have been absolutely amazing. So I'm just excited about that, man. I'm grateful. So I'll get into it, man. So this me, regardless of time in the market or whatever the case is, these are the things that you need to understand. Myself, I ran mortgage companies. I've been in real estate for over 23 years now, done the fix and flips. I've done pretty much everything that you could think of inside of real estate. And now it's time to take those experiences and those lessons and everything that we've done. And this is what we give back to our community, because I always said, God has always told me my job is to cut your time in half. So if I'm doing that, then I'm doing my job. So that's what this is really about. So when we talk about reverse engineering a deal, right, I always say you start with the end in mind and then you work backwards, because if you know where you're going, there's steps in between that you got to take care of. People ask us all the time about our project, and we laugh when they say it because we've been asked this several times. But it's like, what is your biggest challenge that you guys have in this space? And we always tell them, there's no challenges. It's just stuff that we got to get done. And that's how we look at it, because everything that we do is a checklist. We know what the end goal is, and it's a checklist in between. So hopefully through this presentation, I can give you a little bit of that checklist so you'll know what you're looking for, know the questions to ask when you're going out here and looking to get into the development space, and that'll give you a better outlook. Okay. So again, 22 years in the business. I've been doing this for a while, but the case study that we'll go over today is a duplex, right? So a lot of people are looking into a duplex, and duplexes are becoming hot, house hacking and things like that. And I think it's a very smart investment, because one of the things that we weren't given, you always hear, buy your house. That's the biggest investment that you'll ever make. That's false, right? Because if you look at the house, you do get equity over time, but you can't touch it until you either sell it, refinance it, or whatever the case is. An investment is something that is making you money, right? Most of the time we spend a lot of money into our properties instead of making money from our property. So when you look at the duplex or the fourplex concept, you can use that same 1 to 4 loan that you would get on a house that you're going to live in to buy an investment project. So we'll go over some of that. And even when we get to the veteran portion of it that we have coming up, that'll give you even more insight for our veterans to use those benefits to start to build a real estate portfolio for yourself and start to build wealth. Right. So when we look at the case study, we're going to look at a new construction on a duplex, your exit options. We always say, guys, don't go into any investment without knowing how you're getting out. Right. That's what you always want to go into. So you want to have your exit strategies in place before you go in. And then also when we look at the after repair value. So ARV, after repair value, we'll look at when you go into a market and you want to build inside of a market. Again, start with the end in mind. What can I sell this for? Right? What can I sell this for is going to give you your top range. And then after that, you'll understand what I need to buy it for, my construction costs, and everything that leads up to that. So I'll know what I can possibly see on the background, on the back of the investment once everything is successful. Right? So step one, we want to look at land acquisition costs, right? Again, the dirt. You always want to understand what the dirt is in the area. Are you buying it too expensive or too cheap? And one of the things I always tell you guys to look out for, right? They always say if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? So if you find a piece of dirt and it's like $10,000 or whatever the case is in the area, it's selling for $50,000 to $80,000 for the normal lot. Always take a bigger look into that, right? Because basically just because it's cheap, you don't know what else is coming with that. You might have bad soil. The survey might have encumbrance on it. It's a lot of things that can be going wrong with that piece of property. So just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's good. So you want to make sure you're doing your proper due diligence. Again, survey, soil tests, permits, impact fees, tap fees. All of these things are things that we look at before we even buy a piece of dirt. So when we talk about coming into base and understanding 150 years of experience, that's what it is. Before we buy a piece of dirt, we send it to our architect. Before we buy a piece of dirt, we send it to our replat professional so we can see, are there any deed restrictions that we need to be paying attention to? What does the survey say? Is there pipelines running under our land? Whatever the case is, we want to know that before we put money into it. One, because that tells us, are we making a good investment? And then it also tells us what is the highest and best use for this piece of property, right? Because you might be thinking that you can do one thing and just buy the property. And then once you get into actual nuts and bolts and the due diligence of it, you'll realize you can't do none of what you thought you wanted to do, right? So the biggest thing is always understanding and doing that due diligence up front, so you're not caught with your pants down when you get into it, right? After you've already spent some money, right? So if we look at an all-in $65,000 to $90,000, that's what you're looking at. Big thing. If the land eats up more than 20 to 25% of your total deal budget, then the deal is too thin, right? That's what you want to be paying attention to. All right. Step 2 is construction costs. So these are some of the deal points we want you guys to look at. This is where builders get tripped up, and especially new builders. We've had so many horror stories of, people buying land and then working with, different builders and different architects. And by the time they get to their project and they're really ready to go, the plans don't fit the lot, and, the building they're trying to charge way too much to build it for you. And I'm not going to make any money on the back end. So all of these things we got to make sure that we're paying attention to. And one of the biggest things, I want you to write this down, is price per square foot. Right? Once you go and talk to a builder, you want to know, what is my price per square foot? What are you building this for? Right? The reason why you want to know that is because you're going to look at the price per square foot that they're building it at versus what the ARV or what the market is saying. Right? So if I'm building for, my builder is saying, hey, I can build this for you for $120 a square foot. Right? And then you look at the comps in the area, and the average price per square foot in the area is $180 a square foot or $200 a square foot, then you can guesstimate what that spread is going to look like if you're building for $120 a square foot. So those are one of the things that you want to lock in with your construction partner or whoever's building for you. What is my price per square foot that you're going to be building at? All right. Construction budget breakdown. Guys, these are estimates, but I want you to understand the things that you want to be looking for during your process. So these are check marks going through basically the building process of all the things that you're going to be responsible for and paying for inside of that building project. So you have your site prep and foundation. So that can include clearing the land. If you have anything on there, you might have to demo it or whatever the case is. So you want to fit that into your budget. And then also scraping the land, right? We got to take that topsoil off. And then here in Texas, we have high requirements as far as, flood level or plain level that you have to be at. So you might have to bring dirt in on your different projects. So again, that also tells you how much you're going to be really actually paying for the dirt. Because again, you might get a cheap piece of property, but then you need to bring in 100 trucks of dirt. Right? That costs. So that you got to factor that in. So that's something you want to pay attention to. Then we're going to go into the framing aspect of it. So again, roughly around $35,000. Again, these are all estimates, but these are the budget items you want to be paying attention to when you go through your construction budget. Next, we have your plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. Then we go to roof, and then exterior. And then we go into the button up, the interior finishes, floors, cabinets, paints, and then your fixtures and your appliances, landscaping, driveways, and miscellaneous. Builders contingency around 10%. Again, guys, you always want to build that in, because again, if it's something that we don't control, whether that be, pricing, tariffs, weather, whatever the case is, you always want to have a cushion in there. So if something does go wrong, or, something pops up, or this takes a little bit longer than I expected to build, you always have that built-in cushion, and you're not bleeding out at the end of your project, and you're basically breaking even. So these are the the buffers that you want to give yourself moving into this process, right? So here we're looking at a total construction estimate of around $203,000. All right. So this is where we go from here. Now we want to look at our lending and our holding costs, right? This is very important, right? Very, very important, because, again, what you pay for the money will dictate what you profit on the back end, right? So let's talk about the cost of money, because money is not always has a cost and is not always cheap, right? So example of a construction breakdown is what you want to look at. Like if I'm looking at a deal from the back, from the end to the beginning, right? Starting at the end, I know what I can sell it for. So if it's $445, $450, or whatever the case is, I know my construction loan is going to give me 70 to 80% of that cost, right? Of whatever that is. And I have to have my construction costs, my dirt, my soft costs, everything have to be included in that 70 to 80% to make this deal work, right? And then interest rate right now typically is somewhere around 10 to 12%. That's typical. 12 months is the term, and these are typically interest only loans, right? So that means that you won't be paying principal and interest on whatever you borrow. You'll just only be paying the interest on that particular loan, right? And then you want to look at your closing and your draw fees. So all of these things you have to get a custom budget, and they'll make sure that you have it. Holding costs, right? Depending on how long it takes to get this deal done, you have to factor that in. So if I'm paying $1,300 a month or whatever the case is, and it's going to take me 6 to 8 months to build this in, you want to make sure you have that in reserves, right? And we'll talk more about how you do your capital stacking, making sure you have leverage so you're not investing in a strain. We don't want you guys to be investing in a strain. We want you to say, this is my last 25,000 or whatever the case is, and this deal has to work. You want to make sure that you're operating with leverage, right? And we'll talk more about that a little later. But interest payments, you want to look at that, your insurance, utilities and maintenance while you're doing your development, and then property taxes as well once you close and things like that. So again, you want to factor in your lending and your holding costs, all right? Now, exit strategies, guys. How many? And I want you guys to write this down. Always remember, the money is made when you buy, not when you sell, right? So you always want to understand how I'm buying it is going to dictate how much money I'm going to make in on the back end, right? That's very important. So in this example, we're looking at an ARV, which is the after repair value of $450,000, right? Total investment, land, bill plus holding costs, you're looking at $80,000 on the land. Construction, $203,000. You got some holding costs of $20,000. So you're looking at a total cost basis of $303,500. Right? I'm able to sell this, right? So if you guys, and this is another way you can find different ways to cut your expenses, costs. We have an agent that we work with. I always say pay the professionals for what they do, right? If you're not a real estate agent, if you're not used to dealing with investors, if you're not used to selling homes, pay people for what they do. All right. So agents typically is going to be around a 6% commission. So you have to factor that in. Closing costs, title, tax, and miscellaneous, you want to factor that in. So your total selling cost to sell your property, $32,000, right? So if we look at net profit, so $450,000 is our after repair value. That's what we can get in the market. $335,000 is going to be our cost. So you're looking at about $114,000 gross profit. That's a 37% ROI, right? Again, guys, if you look at what's going on in the banks, you look at everywhere, it's 37% or being able to walk away with 114, a six-figure return on an investment. Does that make sense for you? And you guys can put it in chat and let me know, right? So I always say perspective. You always want to look at perspective, right? So if you look at the stock market, S&P 500, you're looking at an average return of 7 to 10%. Right? We're beating that. If you look at bonds, 3 to 5% annually, we're beating that. Mutual funds, index, 6 to 10%, right? This is beating that. Real estate, buy and hold and rentals, 8 to 12%, just depending, right? And then you got your savings account, 1 to 4%, private equity and angel investors, 15 to 25%. So guys, you got to think about where you are in this dynamic, right? We are on the other side of the table where you guys, when you come in and you partner with Base, you're actually partnering with the developer, right? So it's like building wholesale, not retail. Most of us are building retail and, in very slim margins when we're doing so, but being able to partner with a developer that's going to leave a lot more meat on the bone, that's more advantageous for you. But in this scenario, these are the numbers that you're looking for, right? And then on the other side, if you look at from for our 9-to-5ers out there, right? Average salary, in the United States is looking at $66,000 to $67,000 per year, right? I just want you guys to think about it. If I'm able to do a project that, let's say it takes me 6 to 8 months, half a year to do it, and I'm able to walk away with 6 figures and not have to pick up a hammer, a nail, or any of these different things, right? Does that make sense for me? right? And even if you want to keep your same job, we're not telling anybody to walk off the job today or whatever the case is. You know, you got to let your investments tell you when it's time to do something different. But if I can work a 9 to 5 and still do an investment where that can bring me in an additional 6 figures without me having to spend another 40 to 80 hours a week to do so, does that make sense for me, right? This is what building and getting investments, this is what it allows you to do, all right? So exit strategy, buy and hold. Either you're going to build and hold or you're going to cash out. So this typically one we're going to look at from a hold standpoint. This is somebody who says, listen, I want to start to build a real estate portfolio. This is my goal, because in 5 years or whatever the case is, I want to sit back and let my money work for me and not work for my money. Right. So after repair value, you're looking at 450, 75% LTV. So you're going to get a loan of $337,000 that pays off the construction loan of $300,000 roughly. You cash out at closing $37,000. Again, still a good return on investment, and you still have a property with 25% equity in it. Keep that in mind, right? So you're still getting appreciation and other things, right? Now we talk about the monthly income estimate. Each unit rents for about $1,800 a month. So you're looking at about $3,600 a month in gross capital coming in. Annual, you're looking at about $43,000. Again, we looked at the average cost or the average salary in the United States to be $66,000 to $67,000 a year. Right here, with just this one investment that you invested in without a lot of time, you know, minimal money, especially if we're using leverage, you almost matched. You're not far away from the average salary that you got to work 40 to 80 hours to get in the United States, right? So that has to make more sense for you, right? So operating expense about $12,000, net operating income about $30,000, right? So you're looking at a loan payment 6.5 at 30 years, $2,100 or $25,000. So annual cash flow $4,600, $300 a month, plus $37,000 in equity that you pulled out. You know, so again, this is a rinse and repeat situation that you can look to do. And this is just about as you continue to move on and do your investment, of course, that principal balance is going to go down, and then the appreciation of your property is going to go up. So you continue to benefit from this structure. All right. So reverse engineering the numbers, key metric that you always want to pay attention to, guys, total cost basis. So when you're looking at anything that I'm building, you always want to be around 60 to 70% into what you're building, right? That's where you want to keep your costs. So that 30% on the back end, that's what leaves a little, room enough for you to actually see a profit at the end of your project. Right? Cash on cash return. If you holding 8 to 12% is a key metric that you want to look at. Profit margin. Like we always say, if it's a flip, I'm getting it in and out. If you can make 25% at a minimum on your deal, that's a good deal. Like I tell you guys, when I was doing fix and flips and things like that, I would go into the builder's office, immediately. And I say, hey, I can move your whole inventory, but I need a 20% discount. I need a 30% discount, and I would get it. But that minimum investment that you need, or that minimum margin that you need, is around 25%, right? And then when you're refinancing, you're looking at 70 to 75%. So again, you got to make sure that your margins are where they need to be to make the deal make sense. If the numbers don't make sense, like it's saying right here, reverse engineer your land and your construction costs from here. If the math does not work on paper, it does not work in real life. I don't care how much you love it. I don't care how much you think this is the greatest idea. It doesn't matter. If it does not work on paper, if the numbers do not math, then don't touch it. All right. So here's some of the tools and red flags that I want you guys to be paying attention to. Always budget 10 to 15% contingency in everything that you do. Right. And then your vet your contractors, right? See, I would always ask for, let me see your construction portfolio. I want to see what you've already done. And then I would also want to see what HUD statements that you're attached to, right? Because there's a lot of people that say they're doing certain things and I can do this and all of these things, but verify what you're looking at, right? Because you can get into one of these deals and it can be very costly if you don't have the right people working with you. right? And then shop lending terms. Not all hard money is created equal. And like I said, for us, we encourage our investors in our communities to use interest-free money to do your deal. If you can go get, business funding that at 0% interest for 12 months, use that to do your investment so you can use the cheapest money available to do your investment. That's what we ask, right? And then track your draw schedule like your paycheck dependent on it. This is very important, right? Because one of the things, like if you're not paying attention to it, they can be pulling down draws faster than they need to, right? That which means you're only paying interest on the money that we use per draw, right? So if I got $170,000 loan that's out, but I'm only using 20% to do my, my slab and my, my foundation, then I'm only paying interest on what I'm using. So that's very important for you to be up to date on where you are on your draw schedule, because that's going to dictate your monthly payments. And it's also going to dictate how much you're paying over the life of the development, right? So you want to pay attention to that. Red flags, not cleared, and utilities not verified. Again, that's the due diligence piece that we ask you guys to do before you touch a piece of land. Before you buy anything, make sure that's what you're doing, right? Builders without timelines or specs. If somebody doesn't give you a cost lock on what you're going to be paying, and then how long it's going to take them to deliver that product to you, that's not somebody you should be working with, right? And then ARV assumptions not based on comps. Don't do it. If you have a real estate agent in the area, if you don't have one, get one and have them run you a CMA to understand what is happening in that community. What is in the last 3 months, what has sold for what, and what is that average price per square foot, so you know exactly your numbers. When I was younger, I've been an entrepreneur a long time, but me and my family, we own car lots, right? And I remember my first time going to the auction, and it was so overwhelming. It was 45, 55, 55, 50. Like, it was just crazy. I just remember being so overwhelmed, but my cousin always told me, know your number. Know your number. If you know your number, then you drown out all the other noise and you're only focused on your number. And that's how it is here. If you know what your number needs to be, anything else, I don't even need to waste my time looking at it because I know it doesn't work. All right. So final takeaways, 3 steps to remember. Numbers tell the truth. Again, like I just said, know your number. If it doesn't pencil, walk away, right? Start small, but build right? A duplex is a perfect first-time build for a lot of people, especially for our young folks. I think that's probably the best thing. If you're 21, 23, 24, 25, and you haven't built the home that you're going to live in, your forever home or whatever the case is, you haven't started a family, the best thing is to do is to use that 1 to 4 loan in the beginning, build a duplex, build a fourplex, whatever the case may be, live in one, rent out the other 3 or rent out the other 1, and have that pay for your lifestyle when you are ready to transition into a house, into the suburbs or whatever you want to do at that point. But you have a real estate portfolio now that's going to pay for your lifestyle. That's the best strategy, right? And think long game, right? I always say, coming into the game, flipping a deal here and there, whatever the case is, that's always good to get your capital up, right? But real estate is one of the things, if you ever look at it, it's always up and to the right. It's always going to appreciate over time. And again, it's one of those things, God's not making no more dirt, right? So if you understand how to turn dirt into dollars, like we like to say, then this is something that you can build wealth forever for yourself and your family, all right? So I'll end with this. This is my information. If you guys want to reach out to us at Base to get more information, and we'll leave that in the chat for you guys to get more information on us and what we do. But more importantly, guys, I always say this is a new year, and you know how everybody start off the new year. I want to get my life right, and this is my year, and things like that. I'm gonna tell you why this year is important, right? I've been in real estate again since 2023. I was a part of the 2008 crash. I've seen it, right? And you have to understand the cycles in the market. We're stepping into a cycle in the market where they're getting ready to pump tons of money into our market, right? Everybody's going to be talking about inflation. Everything's high, all these different things. The only people that are worried about inflation and how high things are people who don't own assets, right? Because if you're in the stock market and things go sky high, guess what? You just got richer. If you're in real estate and things go sky high, guess what? You just got richer, right? So this is a pivotal moment right? This is not just us telling you this. The time and everything is aligning with you being on this call and where we are in our market, that this is a great time to position yourself for all of this money that's getting ready to come in. You buy low, you sell high. Again, the money is made when you buy, not when you sell. And I'm telling you guys, this is a perfect time to be in the market. And with that, I'll turn it back over to my brother.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, guys. Put some fire in the chat for Mr. Bilbo. Bilbo, you can go ahead and start queuing up the presentation. Guys, we're going to go right into the Prezi. We're going to show you guys exactly what base does and how we look at deals and what's going on in the Houston market. And again, he gave you some practical information. Put a 7 in the chat, guys, if you be able to grab something for that. We operate off a keyword called value, right? So if you got value from that first segment, put value in the chat if you got the value from that. Understanding that is the money's made on the buy, not the sell. A lot of people come into real estate and they see something, they just want to do what they want to do. That's not smart in real estate. In real estate, you need to check all the boxes, make sure everything is going well before you put the property under contract. That is so key to make sure you understand. You have to vet the deals properly first. Then you put it under contract because you already understand what you could do. So we're going to move right along, right, to catch up some of this lost time. We're going to move into a drone footage to be able to show you guys a little bit of the property. This is what we're building over in Project 100 in Houston, the Laura Copy, man. For some of our investors that's on the chat right now, you guys have seen this. I know you're super excited for it. But for those of people who haven't seen it, we're going to show you the square footage and the acreage that we bought, how we took a piece of dirt. We bought a piece of dirt for about $1.5 million. We took that property, we subdivided into 30 lots, right? Within that 30 lots, we opened it up for our community that they could be able to get a portion of a lot for that $25,000 down on their lot. And then they're in a position now to be able to take that property about $170,000 on construction costs, property valuation at $300,000. And so if you do the numbers at buying a lot at 1.4 to 1.5 million, this is math. If you guys understand me, then you know I'm a numbers guy. And as Terrell just said, real estate is all about numbers. We bought the dirt for 1.4, 1.5, took two parcels of dirt, subdivided them into 30 individual addresses that's valued at $300,000 and above. Somebody do 300,000 times 30. Hello. That's $9 million of gross real estate. Do that number times 0.45. That's about $4.5 million of profit off of buying a lot for 1.4 to 1.5. That's the power of knowing the numbers of real estate. You understand what I'm saying? So hope you guys caught that, man. We're going to show you how to turn dirt to dollars as we cue up this presentation. Let me show you what it looks like in real time, right? Documentation be conversation. Enjoy the video.
Welcome to the Base Bros.
We are back at it again, man, like we never left. Hey, listen, we appreciate you guys coming out real quick, being to see our beautiful property right here. Bilbo and Sloan to say, hey, congratulations, Mr. Bilbo.
Congratulations, man.
How
does it feel to have your own subdivision?
It feels amazing.
Absolutely,
hey,
absolutely.
Listen, I go to build our syndicate where you could do the same thing. 30 lot subdivided for everybody in our community to stack wins together, man. Hope you enjoy. Look around. The next light's gonna be on you.
Make sure you get in.
Base to $1 billion, baby. Let's get it. How you guys like that? All right, so what you see in there is real time, and we'll go through in our presentation and kind of show you how that lot is broken down. But as you see, guys, it's simple. It's simple. I promise you, this deal is easier than what you might think it is, right? So I hope you guys getting value, man, out of this situation. Now let's show you exactly what this looks like and how you can do the same thing for you and your community, wherever you are, you know what I'm saying, across the country. This system works everywhere, right? You just got to know the process. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in Houston and how we broke this project down. The next presenter that's going to come up is going to be our realtor, Miss Ty Bilbo. Name sounds a little familiar, right? That's the wife of Terrell. And so once we show you guys this deal, Ty's going to tell you about the market climate that's coming up next. So Ty, you can go ahead and get ready. All right, go right ahead, T.
All right. So, guys, when you look at BASE, what is BASE? We're a real estate development company that's focused on high demand housing products that meet underserved market needs in strategic areas, right? So what does that mean? Houston and Prairie View. In Houston, where Laura Copy sits, we are literally 5 minutes away from the LBJ Hospital. This is a major hospital expansion. Anybody know anything about Houston? They know the Texas Medical Center, right? Well, this is being called Medical Center North. Right. So we're literally 5 minutes away from this $3.2 billion expansion that's happening. And the city has already allocated $352 million of infrastructure around our area. So somebody say early, right? Say early. It's good to be in front of the money instead of behind the money. Right, we're in front of the money. So when we talk about strategic, that's again knowing what's coming in your area. So you're not behind the curve, you're in front of the curve. And then when we talk about Prairie View, you know, my alma mater, we're talking about student housing. We're talking about HBCUs, 1,500 to 2,000 students. I would say bed shortage per campus, right? So that's when we talk about, again, being strategic. So our goal is, and our mission is, to keep more equity in the community. That's why we're doing Project 100, 100 affordable houses. Again, we're going with what the market is asking for, right? But then also being able to have community involved where, you know, it's not a big developer coming in and driving up the prices and nobody in the community actually benefits. We want our community to benefit from the capital and the equity that we leave in these properties. So that's why we structured this how we did. All right. So the problem that we're solving here in Houston is, as of 2024, that there is a shortfall of 90,000 affordable homes. That's entry level. So guys, 350 and lower. Right? Anything under that is what the market is calling for. We need 90,000. So if we say we're building 100, right, and they need 90,000, that means we're not putting a dent. We're not scratching the surface. So that's, again, why we built this community, because we need more people to be out here building and taking advantage of this demand that's out here, right? So if we focus on entry-level homes, student housing, workforce living, these are the prime areas that we need to be paying attention to. Because, again, if you talk about Laura Copy, 5 minutes from the hospital, right, they'll have 1,000 new medical professionals that'll come to the area in the next 2 to 3 years, right? They have 1,000 workers and transitional workers that are working on the buildings and working in the areas that'll come to the area in the next 2 to 3 years. So all of these people are going to need somewhere to stay. Right. So we want to make sure that we're there and we're offering that, you know, the right quality of homes so they can come in. Right. So population growth here in Houston is one of the fastest growing. I believe the quote is somewhere around 700 or so people move here every day. So again, guys, you know, you find a hole and fill it. That's what we're looking at. And then the educational institutions that we have around here: TSU, University of Houston, Prairie View, all within 45 to an hour away from each other. Right. Again, all of these universities need beds. All of the students, you know, they have more students than they have housing. So again, feeling the demand of the housing for both, not only just residential, but also for the student housing. So these are the strategic investments that we look at and we go out first and vet so our community can have access to. Right. So this is where we are in phase 2. I'll let my brother talk more about this phase of where we are in the development.
All right. So briefly, guys. And so what we look at when we take down a property, right? If you buy a property, you want to subdivide it, right? And then open it up for a JV opportunity is what we call a community coming in to participate. So as I showed you just with the lot that we just did in Houston, right there on Laura Copy, that was a $25,000 minimum deposit. That's it. 25 grand, right? If someone were to tell you, if you could invest 25,000 into a property, hold it for about 4 to 6 months, you know what I'm saying? Be able to manage that process and make a 6-figure return, would you do it? That's my question. All right, so let's be real. Would you do it? If you could invest 25,000 and make a 6-figure return, would you do it? Most people would say yes, right? And that's what happened here, right? So every time we look at a project, we broke down Project 100 into 4 phases. Phase 1 was 30 lots. Phase 2 was 16. Phase 3 will be 24. That'll be 70 homes. And then phase 4 will be the wrap up for the 30. So at a $25,000 deposit, what that covers for new construction, right? You got your architecture work, your civil engineer, which is your water, your site plan, your sites, which is you have to get that that home approved for that mock-up, your site specific, right? Depending on how many homes you're doing, you have to get that approval. All your plans, permits, everything that's associated with the city and all the engineers involved is inside of that $25,000. Do you guys feel like that's valuable? You know, one thing that we talk about all the time with phase 100, when we looked at what phase 1 for the 30 homes, we got 30 home sites approved at one time. It would be harder for 30 people to get one approved, you know what I'm saying, than it was to do 30 at one time. That's the power of the community when you bring a collective of individuals together. So if you're an individual who want to learn how to build subdivisions, we're giving you the blueprint right now of how to do it. Get your site plan, put it together, and that's the sauce of being able to get that done. You could participate inside of base projects at $25,000 minimum deposit and be able to get that experience on your behalf. So phase 2 is wrapping up right now. It's probably 1 or 2 lots left. I think that'll probably be done before this weekend is out. And then phase 3 is going to open up February 1, right, of 24 lots, right? So everybody that's on this line right now, you'll get a chance to participate if you so desire. Go right ahead, T. So we do this in 2 ways, right? If a person take a subdivision, they want to be a part of a subdivision that's getting built, you can invest the $25,000 and do your construction and holding costs on that. Or you can invest $100,000 minimum into the construction itself, the actual development of the project, and get a 10 to 15% rate of return on your money, right? That's how that goes. So you got 2 different investment options to be able to take down whichever direction fits best. That's the way you go. And that's how you JV on building a subdivision. All right, go right ahead. All right. So when you look at when those funds come in, where do they actually go? Right. We have 3 different projects that we focus on. One is being the luxury affordable housing. The second one is being the student housing with Prairie View. You'll see that the luxury lost at the end. And so that particular opportunity is $3 million being raised between our community to be able to project these investments. And we call it stacking wins and share profit. This is how it goes when you talk about allocation of how to collectively build a project. In our community, we always talk about it's difficult for us to work together. It's not. When the plan is clear and everybody understands their role, this is the type of stuff that can get done. All right, go right ahead, Don. All right, so when we move into the next phase of this deal, when you look at the project, we're going to go through these 3 mylar. So this is what it looks like when you actually build a subdivision. Some of you guys that follow me online, you've seen the picture that I took of, but this is Bilbo Estate, Sloan Estates, and Base Estates. When you actually get it stamped, the plans is done with your city, you can build your own subdivision. And somebody put in the chat forever, right? That's how long that lasts. That's forever. You know, when your children ride down the road, wouldn't it be great, right, if they saw your last name in front of the marquee, in front of a subdivision that now people have an opportunity to be able to live in? And that's what we call legacy, right? And so this is what we're building. This is luxury affordable housing. Isn't she beautiful? You know, you're talking about a Punta Cana design, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, with a split pad downstairs to be able to do that deal. Floating staircases right inside the interior, and you could flip that flex area, like I say, into a 3rd bedroom. What we found out in our market, I want you to write this down. When you look at doing your market analysis, you have to find out what's your ideal client. But we found out in the Houston, Texas market that the ideal population is 46% of that population is single. So what did that mean? Right. You don't need to be a 3-bedroom, 4-bath. Some people just build things because that's what they want to build. You shouldn't do that in real estate. You should do the research. So when we did the research, we found out is that more people in Houston, almost 50% of the population was single, right? Had 1 car or no car. So building a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a 3rd area with a flex was the ideal product to produce for that market, right? And that's what we built at a $300,000 price point. Again, you have to know what is the price point. We knew $300,000 and under was the market. And this is what your site plan looks like. Once it's completed, you will have a whole site plan and layout as a rendering to be able to see your subdivision. So you have Bilbo Estate to the left of 12 homes. You have Base Estate and that row of 6 to the left, and then Sloan Estate, another 12-pack to the right. Guys, this is how you build a subdivision, right? That's what it's going to look like, okay? All right, so within our project 100, again, phase 2 is closing out for what we've been able to accomplish. That's another, 16 homes in that deal that's moved out the way, and we're moving on to the next 24. So again, if this is something you want to participate in, guys, we're showing you not only how to do it, but how to be a part of something that's already moving. So I want you to take close attention to this particular diagram. Everything that's highlighted shows you the property that we've already bought right there in Houston on Lower Copy. So when you're looking at building, you want to start building a footprint, and it's better to stay in one area than it is to be bouncing all over the place. Construction workers like to stay in one place because that's job security, right? So when we bought the first property in phase one, you'll see the highlight right there where Tara has his cursor, that green and yellow right there. That's Bilbo Estate and Sloan Estates right there. That's 18 homes. To the left across the street, that's Bilbo Estates, right? That's another 12. Phase two for the 16 homes is right here, right? 16 homes right there. That's closing out this weekend. That's another 16 going. And then phase three is 24 right over here, right? And so now you're talking about 70 homes within a mile and within a block and a half radius of 70 affordable houses that's built to be able to impact this community, man. Somebody just put powerful in the chat. That's what we call real-time monopoly, right? Greenhouses and red hotels. When you can start building and lock into a market to be able to perpetuate it, now you have set your own comps for the market, right? You're controlling the market. The market is not controlling you. Again, as Terrell said, a lot of people complain about the market. That's just because you're victim to the market, right? We chose to control the market, and so we'll always be able to grow our area because we stayed in one place. This is some of the things that you have to think about when you're talking about you want to be a real estate developer, controlling your market. So Taylor's going to talk about the numbers for a second and show you guys the exit strategy.
All right. So again, this part of it of coming in is understanding and getting the knowledge of it. Those who want to learn, and we provide that. You know what I'm saying? You get your LLC trust structure, all those different things is what we encourage you guys and structure your investment in, right? But let's just look at the two options, right? So again, if I'm somebody that say, hey, I just want to get in and get out, sell this thing and be done with it, cool. 299,000 is what these will retail for. You got a total cost of 150 to 160,000, just depending on these will be a little bit bigger. So 1,050 square foot. So like I said, it's 160, 170. Gross profit to be anywhere around 130, 140. You know, you're looking at an 88% return on investment. Holding costs for about 4 months. Right. That's once we go vertical, it normally takes us anywhere from 75 to 90 days to be complete with what we're building. Right. So you want to look at that. So if you're looking at a net profit, you know, after costs and things like that, real estate commissions and things like that, if you can walk away again, like we talked about with a 6-figure return, does that make sense for you? Right. Yes or yes. Then option two, this is somebody that wants to build a portfolio. And I'll tell you, one of the things that why I understand and know this works is because, again, I've been in the market, right? I used to do the fix and flips, the door knocking, the bandit signs, anything that you could think of, I've done it, right? But when I was doing real estate, the margins were there. I just to be honest with you, like you guys will probably never see deals like we saw deals back in the day, right? So I understand a lot of people that are buying deals now are buying very, 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 very close to market or close to retail. So once you do your rehab, once you put it back on the market, or you want to rent it out or whatever the case is, your margins are very thin. Right. So if anything goes wrong with that property or anything happens, then you kind of stuck. So if you look at this second option on the refinance and hold, because we leave so much meat on the bone, that's where you win. Right. So on this one, 80% refinance, because, again, we're leaving a lot on the bone. You can cash out $80,000 up front. Monthly mortgage is going to be somewhere around $1,400. You're looking at in this area, $2,000 to $2,200 a month in positive cash flow. So that's $500 to $700 a month in positive cash flow, $6,000 to $9,000 a year in positive cash flow. And that doesn't even include, if you take the strategy, again, we're in a place where medical professionals, traveling nurses, right? So if you do a split pad and you do opt for that third bedroom at the bottom, now you can rent these out for $1,300 to $1,500 per room. So now what have you done to your monthly cash flow and your annual cash flow, right? But this right here, you're looking at a ROI of 4 to 5%, which is not bad at all. You get the property appreciation plus tax benefits. Because think about it, guys. I pulled out $80,000, right? I have somebody in there that's giving me positive cash flow, and I still have 20% of equity in my property. right? This is the best scenario that I've seen on the market, right? If you've seen something better, please let us know because we want to take a look. But this is what we're looking at, all right? So, and then also when you talk about craftsmanship, and again, I talked about it a little bit earlier, when people say this is what they can do or whatever the case is, this is what we do. Make sure you're checking this. So if you look at these signs, just to show you, this is a family business. These are two that we built in 5th Ward here in Houston. If you see this is when my wife was with Nan, and this is my other cousin right here. So it's a family business, right? But this is the homes that we've already completed and sold. So you can see, you know, our workmanship. This is what we do. We started, you know, on half-acre lots, custom home building. So when we come down to the inner city and we talk about affordable luxury, this is why, because just because it's affordable doesn't mean it has to look cheap. And that's not how we're going to build. I think we'll have one of the most dynamic blueprints and plans that the city of Houston have seen. Right. And then I always put this up there. This is one of I would say one of our best rehabs. This is what it started and this is what it finished. Like, all right. So this is the expertise that you're dealing with when you deal with people who've been in the game for as long as we have. All right. So I'll turn this back over to my brother. He's the financial genius in the crew, and he loves this part. So
all right, guys. All right, so this is what we talk about. So a lot of things we're going to show you guys now is like how to look at a deal, how to vet a deal, how to get in position. Real quickly, let's talk about how to keep it into legacy, right? Put generational wealth inside the chat. That might be too long for you. Just put legacy. You know what I'm saying? So we see so many people who get property but then lose it. Have you ever seen somebody or heard of someone who bought a property, somebody passed into the family, then they lost it? You see what I'm saying? Because they didn't do the proper business structure, right? So this ain't the part that's sexy, right? This ain't sexy to act. It's sexy to buy. It's sexy to make the money. It ain't sexy to sit your behind down and do the estate planning, right? But this is why in the African-American community, so much property is left because no one did the estate planning, right? So every generation starts over. At base, we don't recommend that, right? We're trying to teach you how to truly build generational wealth and legacy, which means you need to take that property. Don't just do a will, because a will ends up in probate, right? A will can be contested if the family don't agree. If you take that property and put it inside of a trust, whether revocable or irrevocable, that's your decision, right, of how you want to do that. But put it in the LLC, separate yourself, take the LLC, put them inside of an irrevocable or revocable trust. Now you have access to the assets with no ownership. This is so key because now you have protected yourself from lawsuits, litigation, and death, transfer of wealth, tax deferment. It's so many benefits to putting that property in a trust. Everybody want to own. Do you realize the more you own, the more liability you have? You understand what I'm saying? We don't want that. Wrap it up in an insurance policy, protect it for indemnity. Now, guys, you're in a proper position. We have trust attorneys that's on the team. We have law firms that we work with that our community get access to do this process, because this is true generational wealth. People talk generational wealth, but they don't understand estate planning. So everybody in the base community, this is what we teach to make sure you not only get the property, make the money, but keep the property to go from generation to generation. All right. So hope you guys caught that, right? So we're going to change gears real quick. So we told you about the affordable housing. Again, if you follow me online, you saw me just post up the legacy loft renderings, 3D renderings, what we're going to show you guys today. So what we've been able to do outside of doing that project is find a need in the market. We found out that most HBCUs are about 1,500 to 2,000 beds short across the country. If you went to a HBCU, put your school in the chat, right? Put what university you went to. So we'll see how many HBCUs we got in the community right now. Prairie View has about 9,000 students with about 4,500 beds. Guys, that means about over 4,000 students are homeless. They do not have a bed. They have to figure out where to stay. So we put a model together. We bought 8 acres right outside of Prairie View, did a model for 770 beds, was able to get our contractors and lending partners on board to give us exclusivity to get a niche market of building student dormitories for HBCUs. Woo! Ain't God good? It's over 107 HBCUs. Our game plan is to build over 30 of these beautiful facilities over the next 5 years. This is what it looks like. So this is the power of having the vision and then executing, right? Guys, you're talking about Mass Timber is in a situation. We're building this with Mass Timber. What would take, those buildings will go up in about 18 days apiece. Simultaneously, these will get built up. prefabrication, built off site, you know, all the materials, all the cutouts, and then we put this in place for HBCU. This is what we call Legacy Loft, and that's what it looks like, right? And so each school would be branded, right? Each main office would be branded to the university of what their colors are and what their logo is to be able to perpetuate. You're talking about smart homes, greenhousing, efficiency, amenities, gyms, you know, study halls, content creation rooms, everything they need to be productive is there. Now, if you have a child and they're about to go to school, would you like them to stay or something like that? We understand housing is a big issue in the community. So this is a need that we're able to fill a niche in. So our community, again, being a part of what we do, you get a chance to participate and have fractionalized ownership of student dormitory. You know, Prairie View's been open for over 100 years, right? So we can get more into detail of that. But again, this is the notion of being a developer. It's just not you have to do fix and flips. It's just not that you have to do wholesaling. You could build this game on so many different levels and be able to perpetuate that legacy for you and your family. Guys, you just got to lock in. And that's why we're doing this call right now for 2026 to get everybody in the mindset to lock in. This is our give back, you know. So if you guys getting value out of this, again, can you put value in the chat for me? I like to make sure you guys are getting something out of this. You spending 3 hours of your time with us today. And so we want to make sure we give you enough value to understand we're just not talking to you about general theory. These are things that we're already doing. And so I believe that, you know, when you as a student, you want to learn from professionals, not just professors, not theory, you know, pie in the sky. I want you to learn from professionals that's actually doing it. Terrell operates out in something that I love when he said, you know what I'm saying, that his job is to cut people's time in half. Because when you look at people who have experience, we can help you accelerate by using grandfathering off that experience. So guys, this is where we are right now. We hope you guys see the value in this deal, because for us, more people in our community who know this information, the further we're going to go as a culture. It's no guessing. Let's just do the mathematical system. So I put in the chat, if you understand real estate is a math problem, you won't have as many problems. So our next speaker that's going to come up, right, is going to be the amazing Miss Ty Bilbo. This young lady understands her craft back and forth. She's been in real estate for quite a while, you know, so all the way from the big homes to get the starter homes, and has the knowledge of understanding the market. And again, you want to work with professionals. So wherever you at in the country watching this broadcast right now, we want you to understand you have to find professionals. So she's going to talk a little bit about market climate. She's going to tell you how to look at the situation from a realtor perspective. For everybody who's on the line that's a realtor, Ty is our person. So she got a brand called Moving with Ty, like cooking with Kaya. It's moving with Ty, moving with Ty, moving with Ty. So Ty Bilbo is going to come to the stage real quick. I see her husband backstage trying to get a presentation situated. So I'm going to let him finish it up real quick, getting it right. Man, y'all so cute backstage, man, working with each other. Man, that's just so cute. Y'all are just some beautiful people, man. And so as he gets so ready to go, guys, are you enjoying yourself? Like, I'm excited about this. Like, listen, I feel like it's COVID again, the way they try to make it like it's a blizzard that's going to blow us all away, and we all got to stay in the house. You know what I'm saying? When put some slippers on. But it's cool because we've been able to take this opportunity to share with you guys a lot of information that I hope you've been able to gain something from. And so this is the exciting part of business, is that when you can just share. I was telling my daughter the other day, one of the greatest things as leaders is to be a servant leader, where you get joy off of seeing other people be successful. When you get to that point where it's not selfish about what do you get and what do you do, like when you can grow to that point that God has blessed you, that you get joy from helping other people win, you really done made it to that next level, right? And that's what we are, being able to be a blessing back. So hoping you guys are enjoying what's going on. So without any further ado, Ty, you good? Give me 2 thumbs up back there. I can see y'all. You good? Okay. All right. So we're going to bring Miss Ty Bilbo up. She's going to talk about this deal from a realtor perspective. So y'all put some fire in the chat. Let's put some hearts in the chat, because she's the lady of babes. We call these our base babes. Like her tail lady and my lady, we call them the base curly hair babes. And so we're going to bring them up real quick as Ty bless us from a realtor perspective. All right, sis, you got it.
All right. Thank you. Okay. So
Can you see it?
Can you see my screen?
All right, not yet. Okay, I got you. I can add it for you. There you go.
See it now?
Yep, you good. All right, I'm gonna go backstage. I can see it's nothing but you in the slide.
Okay. All right. Awesome. This information is amazing every time I hear it. So if you are excited about what you heard so far, put some hearts in the comments so we can see that you're enjoying this information. For me, I started in real estate with our family construction company, 7 Concepts. We build from the ground up, as my husband said, custom homes. We build all over Houston. We build multi-family homes, single family homes. Now we're doing development. And I've also been on the buyer agent side, working with builders such as Lennar, David, Weekly, D.R. Horton, being able to sell inventory homes. So I've seen both sides, and this is my niche. New construction is my niche, and you're going to see why it works so well in Houston and what the market is doing. My work blends real estate sales, development, and education, all centered around creating long-term value and generational wealth. And that's what we talk about here all the time, is generational wealth. Now, why Houston? Houston is a honey hole. I love to say that. My husband created that word, so I love saying it because Houston is a honey hole. People are moving here every day, and we'll get into that. So what's the market doing? The reality check. Houston housing market in 2025 reflected a return to a more balanced pace, making it a solid year overall for both buyers and sellers. After several years of ups and downs, which we've all experienced, the greater Houston market returned to the pre-pandemic norms. So even as many other large U.S. markets continue to lag in this area, we are continuing to prosper. So buyers had more choices. Prices were more stable. Homes continued to sell at a steady pace. And as we head into the new year, which we're already in, the stability will provide a solid foundation for continued growth. And that's why you're in the right place at the right time, with based on what we're building, affordable luxury homes. Now, the greater Houston metro area and surrounding areas, if you look at the numbers, nearly 200,000 new residents between 2023 and 2024. And when we break that down, that's about one new person every 2.7 minutes on average over the year. And it breaks it down even further, that 200,000 people per year. So that's 548 people per day that's moving here to Houston. So there's huge opportunity. The housing demand, that we need more houses, like my husband said in the other presentation that he was doing on the on teaching. We need more homes, and that's where we're coming in to fill the gap. It's time to make smart investment strategies, and we're putting that together for you. So discover how our 100-home affordable luxury project offers builder cost, land ownership, and comprehensive investor education. Now, also, we're going to get into the market here in Houston. So what are the houses selling for? What's going on? So in December 2025, this is the market update from Houston Association of Realtors. This is where we get all our facts and numbers from. So if you look at December 2024, you see the single medium sales price was $333,936. Now we come to December, it's moved up 0.3%, so it's $335,000. That's the median. The average above that was in the 4,000s. So as you see, we're in that sweet spot of the 300,000 or lower for affordable housing, because the market has priced some people out, and what we're doing is being able to help them afford it. So what does that mean? So if you're a seasoned investor, you're a realtor, or you're a first-time investor looking to get in, you get in at the bottom. Like we say, you don't buy at the top, you get in at the bottom. So investors can buy at the bottom of the market correction, position yourself for future appreciation. So if you're getting in with base now, over 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years, your home that you're building to either hold will appreciate. And that's what we want to help the community do, is show you how these strategies work to build legacy. And then also builder incentives. For builders, they create incentives for people to come and buy. In the new construction home, builders are offering incentives we haven't seen in years, because they need to move their inventory. And with base, our incentive is you come in at builder's cost. when you go to a big builder, you're buying at retail. They're not giving they're paying for. So coming into base, you're getting the cost at what we're paying it for, the builder's cost, and the negotiating power. Rise in inventory means more negotiating power and lower acquisition costs for savvy investors. So if you're savvy, you're definitely gonna make sure you're paying attention and get your position in base. This environment is ideal for investors entering at builder's cost, like I mentioned before, because all the upside remains. You're having equity in your property. The leveling off of prices creates stability, predictability, and positions investors for long-term demand growth. So let's get into shift in buyer behavior. If you're a first-time investor or a seasoned investor or a realtor, type it in the chat. We want to see what type of mixture we have on the line today. And new homes are selling faster. So like I said before, under 300K is the sweet spot for new homes. You have the resale homes that are sitting on the market. If you know anything about resale homes, they can have so many different things wrong with them. Even though you get an inspection, you're going to have to negotiate, maybe the foundation is off or there's a leak in the ceiling and all those different things. Well, with a new construction home, you have minimized that because they're making sure that the quality, I know base, we make sure that the quality of our homes are great. And so let's look at recent reports reveal a dramatic shift. While new home sales overall are down 8.2% year over year, homes under 300K are selling faster. So this is all fact. This is not something that I'm just making up. Buyers are turning away from outdated resale homes and choosing more modern, efficient construction homes, which what we're building. So why buyers choose new construction? Lower utility bills because we're using energy efficient, better and more functional layouts, fewer repairs and maintenance issues, new warranties providing peace of mind, and incentives like rate buy downs, which I'll get into that on another slide. So this is exactly why our affordable luxury price point is in such high demand. And you'll continue to hear me say that because there's no one in Houston or anywhere doing what we're doing to be able to allow the community come in and get these type of incentives that we're doing and be able to create legacy for your family. And so this slide is, like we said, why new homes are priced below some resale, because you have the buy down rates. So builders will offer to you can buy down your rate. They help with closing costs. They may give you $10,000, $20,000 to go towards closing costs. Free upgrades. So with us, you'll hear that. You'll get more information about what our incentives is, which is the builder's cost, and you get a land. So nobody's going to just give you land and then just build it for you at the builder's cost. So that's what you're getting. That's an incentive for partnering up with base. Those are incentives. We are doing the planning. We are getting the permits. We have the team of over 150 years of experience. So that's what you're getting when you come and partner up with base. So we're not just throwing you out there and saying, you got to go figure this out on your own. And, if you need any help, just come back to us. No, we're walking you step by step through this whole process and showing you how you can exit as well. Now, when we get over here to why new construction wins for long-term wealth, let's take a look at it. Like we already said before, lower maintenance, everything is new, reducing unexpected expenses. You have the warranty, the 2 to 10 year warranty, and energy efficient and more modern design. So you don't have to go in and, have to paint the walls again or have to put a new fence around the home because the one that you bought in the resale home is, looking a little bit raggedy. With the new home, everything is brand new. And so the affordable housing demand in Houston is the strongest sector right now. And it's going to continue. Why? Because you have rising rents. We know people are paying like $2,200 or $2,500 or more just to rent a home that they do not own. Then the affordability gap is widening because the prices are going up and people are not getting promoted or paid more to be able to afford the homes that are already on the market. And then you have the economy is pushing buyers towards the attainable housing, which is the affordable housing that we're doing. So families need home under that 200K price range so they can be homeowners and not renters for the rest of their life. And if you saw on the news that our president said we're not going to be a nation of renters. We definitely do not want to be a nation of renters, because then we can't pass anything down to our family, or we don't have the opportunity to pass anything down because we're just renting and not owning. And so affordable homes are in demand. New homes at lower price points are selling faster. And this is the market economist. And this is why our 100 home affordable luxury project is positioned to dominate. And as you've seen earlier in the previous presentation, you saw the home. This is our second phase. We're getting ready to close the second phase and open phase 3. This has been a moving project, and it's been going so phenomenal. When people hear it, it just makes so much sense. So why our syndicate is different, like I said, you don't pay retail, you pay builder's costs. Builder cost entry, that saves you thousands versus paying retail costs. You have immediate equity when you come in, so start with building value from day one. And then the land allocation, you own part of the development, not just a promise. So you're getting the lot, you're getting the education, and we're putting you a priority. You have early access to, the floor plans and everything, because we have everything put together for you. In a normal purchase, buyers pay retail price. You would go to one of these builders and pay retail price for the home. They're not going to let you in and say, hey, this is how we do our development and this is what our cost is. They're not going to put you in on that part. This is where we are putting you in to get in all the sauce. You're getting all the deets on how development works. And then from there, how do you get in? Well, you book a consultation with us. If you haven't already, attend one of the sessions like this right here. We're going to have another one in February 7th and 8th. And you submit your deposit, you start the education, you receive your address, and the construction, begins. But all of it is a timeline, and we keep you up to date with all the information. And so that's going to conclude my presentation. I'm excited for everyone that's on here, because we're streaming and you can be from anywhere in the world and invest in this project that we're doing and many more projects that we're doing, because you become a part of the family and you can create that legacy. So I want to turn it back over to Sloan and my husband, and everyone have a great day.
All right, moving with Ty. We appreciate you, sis. You killed it, man. Y'all put some hearts in chat and fire in the chat for Ty, man. Ty does a really good job being able to explain the market, to be able to tell us what's going on. And guys, we want you to understand there's some key things he said, and I hope you put in your notes. Again, when you look at building in any market, right? So we gave you Houston because that's what we're building, because obviously y'all know I live in North Carolina, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm in the Charlotte area, and I'm building in Houston. People ask me like, Sloan, why are you building in Houston? I'm like, that's what you got to look at the numbers, right? Business is all about supply and demand. And so if you got a city that's moving that fast, where you got 700 people a day moving in, and you have a 90,000 house shortage, 90,000, affordable housing. So we had the number one, identify the market. Number two, what's the price point, right? Affordable housing in Houston is 300,000. What's affordable housing in your area, right? And so when you look at that, markets need affordable housing. You should build what the market needs, not just what you want, right? And so again, this is supply and demand. We always say if the market want blue shirts, we're gonna give you blue, not black shirts, right? And so the reality of it is that market called for new construction under 300,000, and it's a 90,000 home shortage. So us putting together Project 100, does it all make sense now? Be able to build 100 affordable houses, in a market that's 5 miles from a $3 billion expansion of the hospital was a no-brainer. Our property is 5 miles from the hospital, and when you look at it, that most doctors have to live within a 10-mile radius. So the doctors, the nurses, and so forth. You're talking about 1,000 people moving in to that area just in our staff, and 1,000 construction workers. So this is the data, right, that you have to put in your mind when you're looking at what are you building, what type of product, where, location, where are you building it, what's the price point, right? And then you source it to get your materials in the right place so you make a profit. Because again, you should always know the math equation that you're making your money on the buy, in this situation on the build versus the sale. Does that make sense? Make sense in the chat if you guys are following. If you're catching what I'm putting down, you know what I'm saying, let me know you're with me, right? And so, guys, this is the deal, man. Again, a lot of value in what Ty was saying. A lot of things, you know, we use Houston as an example because that's what we're building. That's what our syndication is doing, and that's why. So you could live anywhere and do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? You can live anywhere. So people live all across the world, and they find out where they want to make their money, and then they put their money to work there. You follow me? And you live where you want, but you make your money where your money's going to make the most sense. You follow me? All right. So our next speaker that's going to come up, he's going to come forward. This is Mr. D'Angelo. I mean, I'm telling you, this brother is going to give you a lot of information about capital, right? Somebody put capital in the chat, and that deal is all about money, right? So when you're looking at, you know, how do I get the money? People always see that. Let me say this. Stop using money as an excuse of why you're not doing business, okay? We live in the United States of America. You understand me? It is a corporation, not a country. Look it up. The United States of America Incorporated. It's a business, right? And so when you look at it, we live in an area that's a business. This is why most tax breaks go to business owners, LLCs, incorporations. And then when you look at a person that's just operating under their social security number, you pay more taxes, you have more liability. The government gives you a hard time and everything. Is because you're using your social as an individual. So what we like to teach you to do is you operate under a business. Let's get the capital under the business. The business takes on the liability. The business takes on the profitability. You see what I'm saying? And then you can fractionalize that to improve your life as an individual, but you should be doing everything in the name of business. Somebody put in the name of business. This is what you do in this country. You do things in the name of business. It is a such thing as having 0% interest credit cards that you can use your LLC, use your personal credit as a personal guarantor, acquire some capital under the LLC, use that money to grow your business, guys, and you don't have to have no capital. This is all about management. If it took you 6 to 12 months to build your credit, to be able to go get $150,000 or $100,000, would it be worth it? I think so. Your average salary in the United States of America is about $55,000. And so when you look at it, if you could do one deal and be at the national average, then 2 deals, you could do one right deal, you know, and a base deal of 6 figures. You know what I'm saying? If you did one a year for 10 years and be able to invest that properly, you know, you'll have $500,000 to $1 million and living off the interest of the money, not the money itself. It's all about strategy. It's not about what you don't have. It's about the strategy of how do you put yourself in a position to leverage the bank money, to take their money to grow the life that you want to have. And this is why we're doing this workshop, so we can get everybody mindset thinking right in 2026. Stop thinking about what you don't have. It's really about what's your idea, what's your creativity. Then you can go get the resources to fund your idea. Does that make sense? Like when I had a meeting with the Kappas at Livingstone the other day, I was giving these young entrepreneurs this same talk. It's about using your ideas. If you run out of ideas, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? You running out of capital, you can fix that. You run out of ideas, you're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? And so D'Angelo is going to come forth and he's going to talk about how to get the capital, how to be able to leverage that deal. Some of you guys' credit scores are already there. You just need to get the right strategy, and bang, baby, you off to the races. So without any further ado, Mr. D'Angelo Watson is going to come forth. He's our capital partner, and he's going to talk about how to get to the capital. And we're going to, right after that, we're going to have Mr. Jarvis Witherspoon, who's going to come forth and talk about it from a veteran perspective. He's a veteran himself, and he's going to talk about how do you do investment properties as a veteran to be able to perpetuate your income. Without any further ado, Mr. Watson, the floor is yours, sir. There you go. What's going on there, brother? How you feeling?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on with you?
Everything's groovy, baby. Everything's groovy. We're moving right along, man. The floor is yours. So I'm going to turn it over to you. I can pull up your presentation, and then you be ready to go. All right, I'm gonna go backstage, brother.
Okay, cool. All right. Let me see. Sloan, am I pulling it up or you pulling it?
No, I think Taylor already put it in queue. Hold on me a second. I might be able to grab it in there. Hold on, let me grab it.
I might could pull it up myself if you want me to.
Which one is it? Is it unlocking? No, not unlocking business. I'm looking in the slides.
Should be Dirt to Dollars.
Dirt to Dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Bilbo, can you pull that up for Watson? I don't see it in my slide deck. Want to make sure. I saw it up there earlier today. There you go. See, there you go. That's what I'm saying. The engineer always come through. Okay. All right. You see it on your side now, D'Angelo?
Yeah, we good to go.
All right, brother.
I'm able to control it too.
I think T got to control it.
Okay, because it's gonna go quick. All right.
Okay.
Yep. So, a lot of times when it comes to getting business credit, or just getting capital in general, we don't have the funds ourselves. So I'll be breaking down how to get access to the next best thing as cash, which is 0% business credit. So we're going to talk about how to secure over 100,000 in business credit so you can start up or scale your real estate company. So it's just a step-by-step guide to fund your real estate business. So when it comes to the United States, 90% of millionaires get their wealth by investing in real estate. So you all are in the right room. 33 million plus owners in the US, they generate 9%. 9% of them generate over $1 million in revenue, and 90% of those invest in real estate. So this webinar is pretty much for investors looking to scale, aspiring real estate investors, 9-to-5ers that's looking to get into real estate. So let me ask you this question. How long would it take you to save $50,000? You don't have to comment or anything like that. But for most of us, it may take, a few years to get $50,000. But what if I told you you could get access to $50,000 in less than 2 weeks just by leveraging business credit? You don't have to deal with predatory lenders. You don't have to worry about any private equity, any high interest rate loans or anything like that. What would that do for your real estate goals, and how would that change your everyday life? And typically the funding options that you're going to see are going to be pretty terrible. It may be, like I said, those high interest rate loans. It could be you might drain your savings. You might apply for a high interest rate loan, or even seek out private equity while giving up control of the business that you know and love. And none of these options really give you the freedom and flexibility that you need to scale your business. Because taking out money out of your savings, that ruins the stability that you have to protect you and your family. And like I stated, the private equity, a lot of times you don't want to go that route because it'll strip you of decision-making power. So I'm going to show you the exact steps that I've been able to take to secure over $1 million in business credit over the past few years. And just for context, my name is D'Angelo Watson. We've been able to secure over $20 million in business credit for our clients. But first, I'm going to break down my story, how it all started. So 2015, I went to college, started working in corporate America. I thought that was the way to go. I thought that was the American dream. Quickly realized the 9-to-5 grind, it wasn't really for me. So I started researching how to become wealthy. Found out most millionaires became what they were from starting businesses, investing in the stock market and real estate. So I mapped out a plan to get out of debt, manage my money, and find additional streams of income. So for a couple years, did a lot of self-development, bought my first car, put it on tour road, made my first little bit of money outside of my corporate job. I also started documenting my journey on Instagram. And like I said, making that first dollar outside of corporate America that really turned the light bulb on for me. So on social media, started. I launched an ebook product, basically a basic finance book, and it ended up making me some money. Did it in April of 2020, right when COVID had started. Sold a bunch of copies, made a few $1,000s off of that, still working my job. Then I came across my first mentorship. Mentorship is super key. I'm gonna talk about that a little later. So I learned the credit game, took action immediately, and then I started my own credit repair and funding companies. And because I got all this knowledge about the business credit and the business credit world, I was like, man, let me start another business. So I started a trucking company using business credit, started a drop shipping company on Amazon using business credit, doing all this around that same 2020, 2021 time. So at that point, I'm running my tech job, running 4 businesses, and then things started to go a little left. So me and my business partner, we fell out. The trucking business kind of went to the ground. My drop shipping store got closed. Amazon held up some money, and my funding and credit repair businesses, they were kind of stagnant. So I shut down the trucking business. I started to only focus on the funding company. Still have my tech job, but I started to see my business grow. So I'm gonna wrap this all up at the end. It's gonna make sense. But I kept investing in mentorships, going to conferences, expanding my network, even though I had lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in trucking. Still had that dream from back in 2016 to own real estate. So I finally bought a 4-unit building in Chicago. And even though 2 of my businesses failed, I kept investing and staying focused on growing my one business while still working my remote job. So fast forward 2024, got married to my best friend March 30th, 2024. The week we got back from our honeymoon in South Africa, I got fired from my job. So this was a job I had worked almost 10 years, 6-figure salary. They cut me off. They finally said, hey man, we got to cut you off. So although my business wasn't doing well, although it was doing well, not having that steady paycheck from my corporate job, it made me feel uneasy. So I had to really lean on my faith in God. And I knew it was now or never for me to really excel the business. So 7 months after I got fired, had my highest revenue month in my business. We almost hit 100,000. And the thing is, if I would have gave up, with business, it's hard. You have ups and downs. So if I would have gave up my first 2 businesses, I would have failed. Well, if I would have gave up after the trucking and the drop shipping failed, or even once I got fired, if I would have gave up, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. And just knowing the power of the business credit, staying focused on that one thing, like you got to be laser focused in 2026. You got to be super duper laser focused. So if I wouldn't have stayed focused and continuously to network and surround myself with like-minded individuals, I probably wouldn't be where I am. And a lot of times it's not really the capital, because I know I'm supposed to talk about business credit, right? But a lot of times it's not really the capital or resources that we're lacking. It's the proper mindset. And it's really the lack of execution and understanding how to properly allocate resources. Because when it comes to business credit, it's simple. It's 3 steps to getting business credit, y'all. Step 1, you got to clean your credit. So that's credit repair, building your credit with credit building accounts, secure credit cards, secure loans. The credit repair process, it could take, a year. But after that year, now you could go on the offense and you can start getting access to funding. So you want to clean your credit, build your credit while you're cleaning it. And then step 2, you want to fund your personal credit. So in order to get business credit, you have to have substance on your personal credit. I'm not talking authorized user trade lines, but you want to have at least 10 to 20,000 in revolving credit, maybe some student loans, car loan, mortgage. You want to have that on your personal credit to get access to the business credit. So I've listed out some credit unions. You got Navy Federal, True Lion, Langley Federal, state employees. It's over 4,000 credit unions in the country. But those are going to be your best option for getting access to some personal capital that you can use for your business and investments. But it's also helping to build up your personal credit so you can move on to that next level. And then step 3 is establishing your business entity, making sure you have the right NAICS code, the right business name, address, having a business bank account, website, having an online presence, all those things matter when it comes to getting access to business funding. But another mistake that people run into is not trusting the process and understanding that the foundation has to be set up first. You have to clean and build your personal credit, which could take a year or two. But it's really that sacrifice. But is that sacrifice worth getting access to $50 to $100,000 that could potentially change the trajectory of your life? If so, type yes in the chat. And then another mistake that I see people run into when getting funding is you're getting the money without guidance, which could result in you getting low limit approvals. You might go to American Express and only get $2,000 and you don't know why. Or you might go to Chase Bank and you tell them you're in real estate and they deny you even though you got an 800 credit score. So the thing is, anybody can apply for business credit cards, loans, lines of credit, but do you know what the banks want to see? Do you know what your NAICS code is? Do you know what your revenue, income? Do you know what the bank's lending limits are, what their interest rates are, which credit bureau do they pull from, what industries do they like to lend to, which industries are restricted? These are the things you need to know. Like I said, money isn't an issue. You have to have a proper plan in place. What's your real estate strategy? Are you buying, holding, fixing, flipping, wholesaling, new construction? If you don't know how leveraging 0% interest capital is going to make you money in the real estate space, then you may need to go back to the drawing board, because getting the money is you're not ready yet. You're not at that level. And if you don't have a business or a proper concept for starting a business, the business credit is not for you either. Funding, using the bank's money, is really designed only for business owners who know how to properly allocate the capital to grow your revenue, because you could really sink yourself. You could put yourself in a hole if you don't know how to really use the business credit. If you meet the criteria, you could get funded within 2 weeks. There are revenue-based options, but a lot of times you're going to get high interest rates, weekly repayments. So you want to really focus on getting your credit score above 700, cleaning up your credit, no collections, charge-offs, bankruptcies, and then you want to hit that $10,000 to $20,000 mark in personal credit cards to start getting access to the business side of things. Some of the funding options, you have 0% interest business credit card. So that's really what you're going to want to leverage when it comes to this new construction real estate space, so that you don't have to pay interest on the money that you're borrowing. You have business lines of credit, business loans, equipment loans, SBA loans, MCA loans, all type of stuff. And typically, if you're a startup business, less than 2 years in business, you can typically get about 50 to 150,000 in business credit cards, 0%, anywhere from 6 to 15 months, just depending on the bank. And then if you've been in business 2 years or more, and if you have financials, meaning bank statements showing revenue or business and personal tax returns, you could get access to 300 plus thousand in business funding. So here's a $100,000 business funding sequence. If your credit is above 700, you can utilize these banks. These are some of the big banks across the country. You have Chase. You can get about 50 to 100,000 just with Chase alone. First Citizens Bank, typically you could get 15 to 25,000. Truist Bank, they'll lend you up to 25,000. Wells Fargo, you could typically get anywhere from 10 to 20,000. Bank of America, you could get anywhere from 10 to 20,000. So these 5 banks, you can apply for business credit cards with all 5 of these banks, potentially get access to $100,000. And now you have the capital needed to get started. So we got some screenshots. I'm big on proof. You got to have proof. Like, people could talk all day, every day, but here's just some of our results from our clients getting access to business credit, $50,000 lines of credit from Citizens Bank, 50,000 from Chase Bank. And then we have even some revenue-based financing that we help a client get. Then here are some of our testimonials. We had a guy named Kevin. He had a healthcare company, got 130,000. Had another lady, Derica. She had a food company. She got 78,000. One of my top clients that I had, Derek, he actually got 340,000 for his real estate company to finish out some rehabs. I had a guy, Andre, he got 90,000 for a brand new business. Paris, she got 100,000 for her real estate investments. So like I said, you have the information. Now it's time to execute and secure the bag. And you can follow me on Instagram, YouTube at LO_the plug on Instagram, and on YouTube, LO the plug. So yeah, have a play for your money, family. Let's get it.
Man. Is that powerful or what, guys? Somebody put value in the chat, man, for D. Man, y'all can scan that QR code. He's one of our funding partners. Any of y'all use some money? Can anybody use some money? Anybody? Anybody use some money? I think that's one of those things that's always in need, right? No matter how much you got, you always use a couple more dollars, right? So good work, champ, man. Beautiful. D'Angelo, it's funny backstage. D'Angelo was telling me how many slides he had. He said he had 60 slides. I said 60. What are you gonna do 60 in 25 minutes? He said, yo, watch me work, man. Watch me work, man. So that was beautiful, man. I absolutely enjoy that. Guys, as we said, capital is not the problem. D'Angelo had a beautiful story of how he got started. They love the fact when you said, you married your best friend. That's beautiful, brother. And, being in a space where you can operate and you understand, like, as long as you got a plan. One thing you said that was powerful to get to that point was mentorship. You got mentorship. You went to conferences. You got to get the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Once you get the knowledge of how to do it, what we think is difficult, you learn it's not that difficult. You know what I'm saying? And again, this is why we're doing this workshop, because we want to break the mental paradigm of a lot of people thinking it's difficult and it's really not. You know what I'm saying? And so if you're a person that you want to get capital, he just gave you a beautiful plan. Clean your personal credit, build your business credit, build up your personal credit, and make sure you got the comparable trade lines on there. Now let's go ahead and flip it to the business side and go ahead and get this free money they got on here. Like I was telling the college students the other day, one of the things that we understand is that, what they did in this industry is they allow individuals to not understand the banking on purpose. You know what I'm saying? You got to go get that book, The Creatures from Jackal's Island, and talks about the Federal Reserve. And then when it talks about the Federal Reserve, it talks about, if you understand banking, right? When you deposit money into the bank, it goes as an asset and a liability at the same time. Meaning the bank had money to come in, but at the same time, they're going to loan it out. And so none of us, our money is not sitting there. We don't have money in the account. You have a digital ledger, right? And it just kind of giving you receipts of how much money you have available to be able to swipe that card. True or not true? But that money is lent out. That's how the banks make money off of interest rate. So your checking account interest rate is less than 1%, but the bank is loaning the money out, getting 28% on a credit card, 20% on the credit card, 12 to 18% on the line of credit. So they're making money off of your money. You know what I'm saying? So when you really understand this concept of how this works, you shouldn't have no fear factor to apply to the bank, get some of that money from them, especially the 0% interest card when you're only paying 1%. You know what I mean? And you could use $25,000 and pay $250 a month on that $25,000. Let me think about this. You know what I'm saying? I can get $25,000 from them, pay $250 a month on the $25,000 that I borrowed from them, build out a property, make a six-figure return over 6 months. If it took you the whole year, right? If it took you a whole year to do that process and you got about $3,000 out of pocket, but now you're in a situation where you made $120,000, is it worth it? Y'all help me out. Is that worth it? This is the understanding the money game. This is the rules of money, right? So when you understand how this works, go get the bank money and be able to build your operation. Now you take the profit from it and you stack the wins. And now you put your little nest egg to the side and you keep your face card good. If you borrow the money, you pay the money back. You pay the money on time. You keep building those relationships. And now, instead of, you can't call your cousin, you can't call your aunt and get $25,000. You can't call your nephew and get $15,000, $20,000, right? But if you take 6 to 12 months, build your credit, or your credit is already built, you're tied to an LLC. Now within 30 days, you got $100,000 and $150,000. Now you can go forth. Now you got 5 banks. You got Chase in your back pocket, Truist, the credit union. Now you got 5 or 6, 7 resources. You don't got to ask nobody for nothing. Does that make sense? Come on, y'all. Y'all feeling me? You know what I'm saying? You may not have 5 friends you can call. You know what I mean? And get $20,000 from a piece. But if you do the right thing, you can get 5 banks. You know what I'm saying? That they give you $20,000 a piece. Now you can go do your deal. This is understanding the money part, right? And now you can go buy some dirt and turn that dirt into dollars. Are y'all feeling me? Y'all catching what I'm putting down? So stop worrying about people and think about the process. Capital is not the issue. Having a plan is the issue. We just gave you the plan. We just gave you the partner. You know what I'm saying? So now in 2026, there's not an excuse if you don't have a plan, you don't have a partner. You just got to put the ball in your court. We are not taking no excuses this year. You know, you're not going to keep blaming everybody else for your failures. That's not how you're going to grow. When you take full accountability for your own success, that's when you win in business, right? Win, lose, or draw is on you, right? When you take it like that, you're going to win like that. All right. So let's move it right along, man. Y'all feeling this? Y'all enjoying yourself? All right, man. We almost done. What time is it? It's 4 o'clock, man. So we're going to bring up our next speaker right here. Let me move up. All right, perfect. We right on time. So we're gonna move to Mr. Jarvis Witherspoon, man. He man, listen, this brother, so loyal and dedicated to the cause. He's our natural veterans director for base. He lives in Arizona, flew to North Carolina to come to his grandmother's party. He was able to make it in, you know what I'm saying, with his flight with this storm they're proclaiming is coming. But he stepped outside of his grandmother's 70th birthday party to be able to come in and talk to us, man. So I appreciate that, dear brother. So he has some powerful information to be able to share. So Mr. Bilbo, if you can get his slides ready, we're going to go ahead and drive his slide. Let's switch D'Angelo slides out. Let's get Mr. Witherspoon slides in. And is any veterans on the line? We got any veterans out there? If so, you're going to enjoy what Mr. Witherspoon is going to talk about, how to use those veteran benefits to do investment properties and turn dirt into dollars. All right, Brother Witherspoon, we're going to bring you up. There you go. Nephew, what's up, baby?
What's going on,
Man, I'm gravy, man.
How's it
I'm
going?
gravy, man. Everything good, Doc. Everything good. Glad you made it in safely. Appreciate you stepping out from the event real quick to come help the people. And I'm gonna turn the floor over to you, Doc. You got it.
Okay, everybody. I hope everybody doing good today. Blessed in somewhere space that's warm and everything. I got 30 minutes. So what I'm gonna do in this 30 minutes, I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself and who I am. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me? Can you hear me up?
Yep, you good to go. You clear. Yep, you
Thank
clear.
all this. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So yeah, like I said, I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself, let you know who I am, give you some credibility of what I'm talking about. And then I'm really gonna focus in on veterans because honestly, this is a part of America that a lot of us think that, oh, they vets, they serve, they good to go, but it's actually the other way around, right? 87% of veterans have never utilized their VA loan. And there's so many other facts that I'm gonna give you guys today to not only help you understand what veterans are going through, but help you understand how you can help a veteran. I understand that you got to understand 1% of Americans join the service. So the 1%ers is what join the service in that aspect. There's 1%ers that are millionaires, etc. But there's 1% of Americans that join the service. And then when they get out, there are 1% of
All right, we lost you for a minute there, Jay. All right, there you go. You
Sorry,
back.
my video was cutting out. So yeah, like I was saying, there's a lot of veterans out here that need help. And even though you're not a veteran, I'm pretty sure you got a family member, a brother, a cousin, somebody that's a veteran and they can utilize this information. So suck it in, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you take note because it's going to be some valuable information. Let's get it going. T, if you can just go to the next one for me. Right. So this slide is pretty much if you're a non-veteran, please still pay attention because because it's something that you're going to find valuable that you can pass on to the next. Next. Now about me, my name is Jarvis Witherspoon. I'm a Navy veteran. I was an IT. I had top secret clearance. It's a lot of stuff that people don't know about the government that I learned while I was in. I'm a licensed realtor. I'm an investor. I'm a military investor coach. I'm a national veterans rep for base, and I'm the founder of Serve to Soul. Right. My story is very unique. You can go to the next one. My mission is to help veterans unlock wealth in real estate, right? So when I got out of the military in 2021, I mean in 2016, it was difficult, right? The transition from getting out of the service is difficult, right? You go from being in charge, having responsibilities, having a mission that's given to you. I didn't have to think about what I was doing. I knew that once Once I hit this beach or once I hit my command, I was supposed to do this, and this, right? My mission was given to me. But when you transition out of the service, there's no more missions given to you. You got to figure it out, right? So my mission now is to help veterans unlock wealth through real estate. I want to help veterans turn service into ownership, right? So as you can see here, this was my transition, right? If you see in the first screen, that's me on deployment. Those are my military buddies, right? Some of the best friends I ever had in my life was from the military. But once I got out, I felt like I was alone. I didn't have anybody that I could relate to. All my buddies were still in. My mission was gone. You know, I felt like, man, it was a hole. It was a hole that I couldn't fill. So I was doing everything, right? I was cutting hair. As you can see, I'm on top of a roof. I hate heights, but I had to make money because I had a wife and kid that I was trying to make sure was eating, right? So I got on roofs. I did all types of stuff, right? So as you can see here, my daughter, she was one that's my daughter's half Japanese. I met my wife in Japan, right? When I got out of the military, I got out unexpectedly because I wasn't expecting to have a kid, right? I was doing my thing in Japan, but next thing you know, I ended up, getting my wife today pregnant. So I had to make a decision, right? I decided when I was younger that I didn't want to raise no kid away from the household, right? I grew up in a single family home. So I told myself if I ever was to get anybody pregnant, it is what it is. I'm getting married and that's what it's going to be. So I brought my Japanese wife and my daughter to the States, and I got out of the military all in the same month. So I went from having a mission, knowing exactly what I was doing on a day-to-day basis, making money, to now I'm out of the military. I don't have a mission. I don't have a job, and I have 2 more mouths to feed. So I struggle, right? I live with my parents. Me, my wife, and my daughter stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment at my mom's spot in Arizona. And we did that for 2.5 years because I didn't have no help. I didn't know what to do. All I knew is that I had to figure out a way to provide, right? So long story short, I ended up getting a job and I started fixing my credit. I started learning new things. I didn't have a mentor at the time. I didn't have a mentor that I could reach out to, right? So I just was looking up things, paying for different stuff, trying to figure things out. I came across the name of this guy. I'm not gonna mention his name, but he helped me figure out how to get my credit situated. Go back to the last slide before that, T. Back 2 more. Yeah, 2 more. Go back. Okay, so I'll just go from here. But anyways, you can just stop right there. So basically, long story short, I struggled for a while, figured out how to fix my credit, and I got above a 700 credit score, right? I was working at a job, and then I utilized business funding to be able to finally move out of my mom's house and get into my own house, right? Along with business funding, I used what they call VA loan. The VA loan allowed me to buy a house for 0% down, no PMI, no mortgage insurance, no funding fee, and I basically walked into my first home with no money out of pocket, right? The business funding allowed me to scale, but I bought my first home with the VA loan, no money out of pocket. I want that to be understood. My very first home was zero money out of pocket. So I struggled to try to find how I'm gonna buy a house. But lo and behold, I could have bought a house with no money out of pocket and I didn't even know it, right? What the rich use is other people's money. And what the VA loan is basically other people's money, right? The government is basically guaranteeing that if you utilize a VA loan, you're not going to have to put a down payment, right? So I want to segue into a little bit about veterans. Like I said, I'll talk about my journey. That was my journey, how I able to buy my first property. And we just going to pause there. I don't even know. The slide must be going. But I want to give you some facts about veterans, right? Over 33%, over 33,000 veterans are homeless in any given night in America. I'm going to say that again. Over 33,000 veterans are homeless on any given night. I'm talking about the folks that was fighting for our country, that was making sure we was at home while we was asleep. Somebody was overseas making sure ain't nobody coming over here to kill us. It's third world countries out there that I don't think people really understand the magnitude of the military. We're able to have peace in our house and because we're fighting overseas in third world countries that want to get over here and take what we have. Right? So 33,000 veterans are homeless on any given night. Veterans are 40% more likely to declare bankruptcy than civilians. 40% more likely. Nearly 1 out of every 4 veterans have less than $400 saved for any emergency. right? So nearly 1 out of 4 veterans have less than $400. You talking about people that fought for our country, they ain't got $400, right? An estimate 17 veterans died by suicide every day. Now I wonder why. If you ain't got $400, you thinking, and you ain't got no mission no more, you ain't got your brothers, you're a civilian now. A lot of veterans don't know how to cope with that, and it's not even their fault. It's called PTSD, right? So when they end up in that world where they ain't got no money and they thought start to run, they start to commit suicide. Today, I'm gonna show you how to talk to these veterans, give them information so they can be able to manifest and bring the benefits that they actually already earned and maximize them so they don't have to be broke. So they don't have to go work to 85, right? There's ways to do that, but they just don't understand their benefits. And the reason why is because when you're getting out of the service, they don't truly explain this to us, right? In the military, we have one uniform for another. All we do is work. We're not taught to how to manage money. We're not taught to how to invest in real estate. We're taught to how to get the mission done. No one explains how to use our benefits to build wealth. They just say, "Oh, you should go to the VA." Right? We end up surviving and not thriving, even though we earned better. Right? So so my 3-step system basically is I teach veterans how to maximize their benefits. Right? So why work with base? The reason why you want to work with base is because base allows you to utilize the VA loan to be able to get into the properties that we actually have, the lots that we have. So the military have what they call the VA loan. The VA loan is a 0% down, no interest, a low interest payment loan, right? So what you can do is you can utilize the VA construction loan to purchase one of our lots with base, right? And that's 0% down, right? So whenever you do that, you actually some of us have to put the 16K down for the construction loan, but the VA allows you to not have to put that 16K down, so they can actually invest with base for free. All they would need to do is bring 25K for the mentorship, right? But at the end of the day, with that mentorship price, you can utilize business funding to pay for that. So a veteran can walk into a 100K equity deal with no money out of pocket, literally, right? So as you can see here, 0% down construction loan will walk you through utilizing your VA benefits to build new properties with no money out of pocket, accessing vetted projects, 2 beds, 2 bath, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? What I really want you guys to understand from this is that with the VA, you can actually invest in real estate with no money out of pocket. I'm going to keep reiterating that because I know it sounds weird. I know it sounds like, how is this possible? But it's possible. The VA loan is the best thing known to man, right? So if you have any veterans in your family, if you know anybody that's in your family that doesn't understand the VA loan, then you definitely want to get them in contact with me because I can break it down. Now, in my system, I call it the Veterans Wealth Blueprint. Now that you understand what I went through, now that you understand that you can utilize the VA loan to partner with base, I'm going to take it to the next level. When they partner with base, they partner with me. And my 3-step system is simple. The first thing I do is I get the veteran to make cash flowing money. Everybody know cash flow is king. If you want to be a millionaire and stay a millionaire, you gotta have cash flow, right? So the first thing I do when I get with a veteran, I ask them, do they have a disability rating, right? Because at the end of the day, I am here to maximize their benefits, not just help them get into a home. I want them to be able to get into a home, fire their boss, and live the American dream we all fought for. If anybody deserves the American dream, us veterans do, right? So what I do is the first step is to see if they have a disability rating. Because with a disability rating, they can make up to 45 to $5,000 a month tax free with 100%, right? So that's 5K. Let's just say they make 4,500 a month, or 5K. Let's do 5K a month because I don't got my calculator in front of me, and it's an easier number. But you can make up to 5K depending on the dependents, right? So if you have more dependents, you're gonna make more money, right? Because they're gonna make sure they want to take out a family. So 5K a month with 0% interest. I mean, 5K a month or with 100% disability, right? That's the first thing I do. The second thing I do is I make sure that we strategize the process or the investment strategy they want to utilize, right? So you have fix and flip, you have new construction, and then you have buy and hold. Well, depending on where they're at in their life, these strategies is going to be different for them. For me, I had a wife and kid. So I didn't want to move into a quadplex immediately because I didn't know who the next person next to me would be. I wanted to make sure I kept my family secure, right? So I had to get a single family home. So depending on what their strategy is, if they're single and they're moving out, then I would suggest they get something like we have going on in Houston, right? Because now you have a 2-bed, even if they have a family, they might have a small family, but they invest in something like what we have in Houston, and then they can turn that and they can actually get renters in it the first day that they move into this property, right? So the second thing I do, like I said, is I figure out what strategy is going to work best for them when it comes to real estate investing, whether it's going to be buy and hold, whether it's going to be fix and flip, whether it's going to be just brand new development, right? Whichever one that they think is best for them, we talk and we figure out what's that. The third and final thing I do is I help them scale, right? We utilize people to help them get business funding, right? As we have on the line with us, D'Angelo, we utilize people like D'Angelo to get business funding so that we can scale into the next property, right? So with my process, it's very simple. The very first thing we do is make sure the veterans getting money from the disability rating. The second thing we do is make sure we find something that an investment strategy that works for them, and then we get them into that investment property, right? The third thing we do is we scale that, right? Now, what people really don't know is that you can buy a house every year with the VA loan with 0% down, right? So, like I said before, if that veteran bought that first house with the VA loan 0% down, all they need to do is wait 8 months. They can refinance and purchase another property, right? And they can do this over and over and over again, right? So for me, I started in 2021. I bought my first property. Now I own 4 properties. It's 2026. I'll be buying 2 more this year with the VA loan 0% down. So what I do is I teach veterans how to do the exact same process. And if you partner with Base, you're walking to 100K plus of equity that they can utilize whatever they want to do, right? So that's basically my veteran blueprint. Um, and then with that, you get tons of information. You're gonna get deal finding strategies. You're gonna get my network. You're gonna get templates on how to make sure you keep your tenants when you're developing leases for your tenants. You're gonna get templates for that. I'm gonna help you understand how you can put your property on multiple streaming sites, Booking.com, Verbo, Furnish Finder, Airbnb. Because once you get the property, you got to get some tenants. So we help them with this whole process, right? And then the last and very last thing we do is we scale, right? So if you want limited access to the Wealth Blueprint community, then we have a code at the end of this slide deck that you can scan now. Typically, I charge $7,000 to partner with me and for me to be your coach, right? I have an option for tier 1, as you see here, for 1,100. And then I also have a veteran strategy call for 397, right? In this strategy call, I'm going to break down the VA entitlement. I'm going to break down how you can house hack with the VA entitlement. I'm going to break down co-living. I'm going to personalize your strategy so that everything works and fits your lifestyle, right? And then my tier 1 project is mission control. Everything is military type style, right? So you're going to do VA loan one-on-one benefits. Like I said before, I'm going to break down everything to them. I'm going to show them how they can use a single family home to still make profit, right? Because I had to do it. And it's called co-living. You can take a 4-bedroom, turn it into a 6, 7 bedroom, and rent out room by room by room. You're gonna 10x your income, right? So it's so many strategies that you can utilize with the VA loan that a lot of people don't know about, right? And then with this package, you're gonna get all this here for 1,100. But however, if you're a part of this call and you know somebody that's a veteran or a family member that has a family that's a veteran and need this type of information, if you scan this code, I will personally give them a free strategy call, and I'm going to go through everything I went through with you guys, but it's going to be in greater detail because they're a vet and they really need to know this, right? So if you scan this code, it's going to ask you your name, email, and stuff like that. You put that information in, and I'll give you a call back next week because I want you to take full advantage of me while you have this opportunity with Base. Because since I partner with Base, I'm going to give you all this for free, right? I just need you to scan that code, give me a call, and then we're going to figure out what's going to work best for you and how we can utilize your VA loan in conjunction with Base so that you can take full advantage of what we got going on. And that's basically my spiel, you guys. I'm all about legacy. I'm all about building something for your family. And with this process, the veterans can do just that. Here's my number, here's my website, and here's my email. If you go to veteranswealthblueprint.com, I have weekly Zoom calls. I have monthly in-person events, but I have weekly Zoom calls. So if you scan that, I mean, if you type in veteranswealthblueprint.com, you're going to see my schedule. You'll be able to RSVP. So make sure you take a picture of this, screenshot this, send it to the vets that you know, because it's something that I do for a living, right? So I want to teach veterans how to do the same thing I do. I want to teach veterans to be able to travel, go see their grandma, have meetings like this without having to worry about an 8 to 5, because it doesn't make sense. I mean, honestly, last time we was in Houston, the security guy, I'm gonna tell y'all this quick story. The security guy had fought in Vietnam. Dude fought in Vietnam, but he still was working security. Had no percentage. Didn't have a disability rating, working at the security. And I said, man, why don't you have a disability rating? You actually seen people like die. The Vietnam War was a strategy, a dangerous war. It wasn't something that was just, I'm gonna shoot my bombs from here and there. It was hand-to-hand combat, and he was in that. But he ended up being a security guard. Meanwhile, me, I served during the wartime, but I wasn't hand-to-hand, so I felt bad. Because I'm sitting at 100%, and this guy's sitting at 0% working 8 to 5. And it's not his fault. It's because, first off, the military don't give, they don't care enough to teach us this, as you can see. And then secondly, his family or whoever he has in his circle is not telling him this stuff, right? So please, get me in front of the vets so I can help them out, so they don't end up being 80 years old with no disability working 8 to 5. Right? It's all about building legacy. It's all about making sure we're in proper preparation to prevent poor performance, right? To prepare for this. Hopefully you guys was able to get some value out of that. Like I said, if you know a veteran at all, please send them my number, send them my website. And if you have any questions, I think I ended it early.
Man, you killed it, nephew. Man, great job, man. Y'all put some fire in the chat for Mr. Witherspoon, man. Beautiful, beautiful, man. Get auntie a big hug, grandma a big hug and kiss for me, Doc. Man, bro. Man, you said so much stuff, man, in that deal right there. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I mean, that was absolutely beautiful. So much value. I hope you got that QR code and the website to be able to grab that deal. Jarvis, you can go and put that in the chat as well for him. And you guys just reach out. I mean, my father was a veteran. Same thing like Jarvis was saying. You know what I'm saying? It was a situation where he never used none of his benefits. He actually died before he used any of his benefits, any of them. You know what I'm saying? And so it's so many veterans in the country that just don't tap into their benefits. Because like Jarvis was saying, the VA not talking about it. They're not telling the people. They're not holding classes and saying this is what you need to get done. It's like after you finish and you go from being a soldier to a civilian, they only focusing on soldiers. They not focusing on civilians. So even though you were a soldier, you're no longer. They just say go to the VA and, these are just people working jobs. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just one of those things, man. It's unfortunate, but it's real. And so to have Jarvis on the team is being one of the Jarvis, you can go in the chat and put the website in there. A couple of people asking for it. They didn't get the QR code. Maybe you can type in the website. But to have Jarvis on the team to be able to explain this information, I've heard this presentation several times, and I always get something extra out of it because there's so many different strategies within this process. Like you talk about, to be able to get a quad, to be able to do it once a year, with the entitlement and how to strategize that. This is why you have to have mentors. I mean, you heard this over and over and over on this call of everybody that's a professional that spoke, that said they went to mentor, they invested into themselves. And I'll never hold back from saying that. Just like you invest in anything else, your biggest asset is you. Somebody write that in your notes. My biggest asset is me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to invest in mentors, coaches, and classes. Like, we spending $30,000 and $40,000 a year to send our kids to colleges to learn from people. Thank you, Tara. That aren't professionals. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just talking theory. You know what I mean? They're not professionals. If they was professionals and they was good at what they was doing and making a living off of it, they would be teaching for free. You know what I'm saying? Like we're doing today. Like, we didn't give y'all so much value for free. Let me ask you a question. Did anybody pay to get on this webinar today? You don't heard from lenders, you know what I'm saying, that done told you how to get the money. You don't talk to developers. They heard from developers that done told you the strategy of how to vet a deal properly. You don't heard from a realtor who told you how to evaluate a market. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is very, very valuable information that you're getting at no cost. But I'm telling you, Everybody that spoke on this panel today invested into themselves to learn this knowledge of what they didn't teach in school. In the business world, you invest in you. You pay the $3,000 or $5,000 to get a mentor. You I seen some mentor $100,000 to get in certain groups. You know what I'm saying? $1 million to get in certain groups. So every tier of growth requires another level of knowledge. And I'm gonna tell you, the learning don't ever stop. You are your biggest investment. So again, shout out to all the speakers that spoke today. They gave a lot of sauce. You know what I'm saying? We are ending right on time. It's 4:20 now, and so I'm gonna wrap this up. Tara's gonna play a video real quick. Every time we do an event in Houston, we always do a VIP dinner with all of our investor partners and speakers. We go together, hang out, and it's just been a powerful thing to put so much impact into the community. Bar none, Base has the best investment opportunity in Houston, Texas, and that is a big statement to make. But as we go around and we speak at the Black Wall Street Convention in Houston, we've been able to sit on panels and talk and be sponsors of different groups and talk to all these different brokers. And the reality of it is the $25,000 deposit for the piece of dirt connected to mentorship is the bar none best advantage that Base offers to the community. And when they look at how we price it, I mean, you're talking about one of our private equity partners, the 80-year-old Asian guy who used to own a bank, who will finance us up to $10 million for any project that we want. And when he looked at our deal, now he vets deals. When he looked for a living, this is what he do. He looked at our deal and say, man, this is genius. And I'm not saying that because it's ours. I'm just saying because God blessed us to have enough insight to know how to put it together and then gave us the right partners. It's all about who you partner with, right? And when we say 150 years of experience, you talk about our architect, 33 years in the business. You know what I'm saying? You talk about our replatter, 22 years in the business, who sits on the advisory board with the city of Houston. You're talking about civil engineers who work with George Bush. You know what I'm saying? Like you're talking about experts. You know what I'm saying? We're just not talking about, let's just work together. We're talking about experts. And so we've been able to put together today. I'm so grateful. God bless us to be able to get it to y'all. I'm telling you, this is giving it to y'all. This ain't philosophy. This ain't theory. You know what I'm saying? This is free knowledge that we wanted to sow seeds into it and say, listen, as a community, let's come together and let's do something bigger than what we're doing now. Accountability is everything. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty fit in the gym, but I just invested into a trainer. Why? Right? Because I want my training to push me further than what I could push myself. You see what I'm saying? That accountability partner is what we all need to have. And that's what we put together in the Base community. Well, all these professionals across the country to be able to come together. So every time we do an event, we have our workshop, we go out, we do the field trip with everybody, and then we go out and do a VIP dinner, guys. And so we're going to show you a video of how we do it. You know what I'm saying? Again, this is something that we're doing this year across the country. Houston is our home base, so you can fly in. The next event is February 7th and the 8th. And then we do it every 2 months, right, in Houston. And we'll do another one here live in Charlotte where you'll get an opportunity to be able to come into the room and, the team will fly over and be able to present to you guys and, again, give you the sauce and give you a chance to participate, right? A lot of you guys need to be reaching out to D'Angelo. So, D'Angelo, if you can put your website or your calendar schedule in the chat for me, if you could put that in the chat so that everybody can have that, please. And Jarvis, you put your website in the chat so they can get the veterans information. They can get the funding information. Go get you a bag, man. Go get you a bag so you can invest into yourself and put yourself in the proper position. In 2026, it's time out of talking about what you're going to do. And then next year, you in the same situation because you didn't execute. You thought about what you didn't have, not what you could be doing if you had the right strategy and the plan. So Tara, go ahead and roll the video. And when I come back, I'm going to drop the link for you guys in the chat to get the merch. I'm going to show you the Base merch. And then we're going to wrap this deal up and we're going to get out of here on time. Ain't that beautiful? You know what I'm saying? So started right on time, ending on time, even with some technological issues. Everybody hit their mark. And we hope you guys got some value out of it, man. So let's show them how we do it, T, when we do an event, baby. Let's get it.
Wilson Whiskey, A1 Sports Lounge, Cigar Lounge. We in here, baby. Big up to the base family, man. We super excited about having a good time today. Listen, we all we out here at A1 Lounge. The meeting after the collaboration with Wilson Whiskey. Yes, there you go. Let me open it up. Boom! There you go. You blanked out tonight. The big up the Wilson Whiskey, man, for the collaboration, a good time, man. Listen, if you ain't never heard of it, you need to find out, right? Basement being the hottest thing in the streets of Houston, the hottest project out here. Collaboration over competition, baby. Let's get it, man. Let's build something. Base to a billion. Let's go. Let's go.
Super dope, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that, man. Just want to show you, man, every time we do an event, man, we bring in the best of the best. I'm about to put this in the chat for you real quick. Let me know you guys click that link. I just put the link in there that Jarvis sent to the private chat for you guys to be able to, you know, book with him. D'Angelo, if you put your link in there also. And last but not least, before I close this out, so I don't forget, I'm going to send you guys right now. I'm gonna put in the other chat the link so you guys, those of you who want to grab you some merch, you can. Where we at? All right, here we go, right here. This thing making me do one line at a time. All right, there we go. I think it should have came through. Did it come through? Let me try one more time. I didn't see it pop up before I start talking because I know me. I get into a groove and I'm gone. All right. All right, cool. All right, cool. So hold on. You'll see it right there across the bottom. If you go to base development projects, let me put it in here. All right, perfect. You go right there, and then you guys, I got my base. All right, guys. All right, so listen, you know, to wrap this deal up, man, guys, is we got a special announcement. A special announcement. Oh, T, while I'm pulling this up too, grab in the chat and put the Telegram chat. The new Telegram chat in there, so they can actually. So we got a free community, guys. We having releases to everybody. We was going to wait till today. As you can see, I got on one of the base merch shirts right now. You know what I'm saying? Keeping the eye on the money at all time and put $100 bill up, and that's the eye. That's what you see right there. And so we're going to allow you guys to hop in. This is what the shirt that we call the origin, right? And I'm showing you all this to say, even if you are not investing inside the base project, I think the holographic is messing it up. I can't see it. It's messing. There it is. Even if you're not investing to the project, man, base is a movement because we call it the movement merch. And so you can get a chance to get you a cup. There you go. Get you a wine mug. And as they said in the chat, you got your base bag, baby. Filling back the layers of money. So get you your base duffel bag, man, with the eyes on it, man. So the money busting out. Y'all see them eyes? Woo-wee. Yes, sir. I can't wait to tote that around. That's a statement piece all within itself. So you guys get a chance to be able to go ahead and get you some merch and be able to rock that out to be able to be a part of the movement, man. This is a movement that we created all across the country, and we're grateful, to be stewards of this deal. So hope we gave you guys plenty of value that you'll have an opportunity to be able to take this along your journey in 2026, as well as I said, we created a free community that those of you who want to join the community, you can join. And we're going to give this level of value every single day, every single week, have private one-on-one calls that we'll again be able to give you an opportunity to get inside that space. And then, we have an academy that's going to be coming out in a couple of months, right? That's getting built out right now that you can actually join that community, being a part of the, the higher level of education and base. You'll be able to be in a position to be able to get that. But right now we have a free online community that over 10,000 people will be joining this year. We've been working on this all throughout the Q4. And you guys have opportunity to get in, right? So, if you would like to have that, if you would like to be inside of the community, we would love to have you, right? If you want to, partner with us, we would love to partner with you and introduce you to the rest of our team. Because what you saw today was probably about, 10-15%, right? And so we got a lot more people with a lot more value to be able to introduce you to. And then one of these opportunities, you'll get a chance to come over there and see the lots itself, to see what we're building. But today, again, call was to be able to set you up and put you in a position that you can grow from this deal and learn how to do what we do, right? So as we wrap this up, it's 4:30 right now. We told you we'll be out here at 5 o'clock. And so I'm going to talk a little bit today about proper business infrastructure. And D'Angelo hit on some of the similar things that I was going to hit on, and I still am. And then we're just going to wrap it up and do some Q&A with all the speakers that's still available. We'll all come together. But one of the things I really want to make sure you guys understand that when you're setting up this business, when we talk about building a legacy and building an enterprise, right? You have to sit down and do this the right way. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about set up the LLC, get the EIN number. You know what I mean? A big part of that structure is making sure you have a business website, right? Again, this is the non-sexy things, but I'm telling you, as a professional, you have to do it, right? Make sure you have a business website. Make sure you have a corporate email address, right? So if your business name is Capital Partners, right? It should be info@capitalpartners.com, right? Or your name, it should be Sloan at capitalpartners.com, right? So when lenders start looking at your information, they can see that you have a digital footprint, you have a physical footprint, you have a business telephone number, just like it is if you were to call any other company, you wouldn't expect them to be picking up on a cell phone. So these are all the things that you have to do, right? You have to slow down for a second and make sure you got that structure set up properly, right, to put you in the right position. So when they look at your paperwork, you're taken seriously, right? That NACS code, how you certified there. It's so many net 30 accounts that you could set up, right? You want to make sure you go to Dun & Bradstreet. You get that NAV account, right? Set up some net 30s, and net 30s are just companies, that you could be able to put on your business profile, whether you got to pay the $50 or the $100 per line, let it report to your business and start giving you some business credit. Like you want to get that paydex score to 80, 85, 90. And all it is that your business has credibility. I want you to write this down. Credit equals credibility. That's what it is. Credit equals credibility, right? So if you want more credibility with a bank, your personal credit score has to be 700 and above, right? So that means you pay people back. If your scores are 500 and 600, that means you have a low credibility because you don't pay people back. You might have some negatives or some derogatory. And listen, life happens, man. Listen, I done had 800s and I done had 500s and everything in between, right? That happens with life. You know what I'm saying? No, my father passed. I forgot to pay one credit card bill and my score dropped 150 points. Any of y'all ever been there before? That's what happens, sometime in life. So your credit score is not always a reflection of your current season of where you are today. It's plenty of people got plenty of cash and they're in a good situation, but they never fix their credit. And so you need to go back, and there's laws that's put together that can get these things disputed. If you got collections on that credit report, which is illegal for them to report to your credit because they never owned the debt, you never owed them anything. And so this is why you pay people that run credit restoration services to go in and dispute these items on your behalf based upon the laws that's there, the CFPB, you know what I'm saying, the Fair Reported Credit Act. There's so many different things that's out there that can protect you as an individual to make sure that these things and these derogatories come off your personal credit. But listen, family, we have to do that. This is absolutely mandatory, right? I remember when I've had to redo my credit, it took me a year to redo my credit back to get it where I needed to be. But again, it took the time, and I invested. I paid the $1,500 or $2,500 to credit restoration companies, and some of them did a great job, and some of them didn't do nothing. And I had to pay somebody again. But guess what? The resilience of understanding this is very important, because my credibility is important to me. And when I send over my packet to a lender, I need my credibility to reflect where I am in this current season of life, that I was willing to fix anything in the past to get right to where I'm in today, so that when I take that, my personal credit profile, and attach it to my LLC and send my packet over, I can go get the business credit cards. I can, you know, they see my docket and my business plan, and they willing to, they feel I'm credible, you know what I'm saying, to be able to give me their money so that I can take that capital and go build a project. Guys, I know this is a part of the process that some of you guys have been skipping steps. You want to make the six-figure income. You want to have the residual capital, but you're skipping some steps, right? Because you don't have the patience. Everything is not microwavable. You know what I'm saying? Some things you just can't cook in the microwave. You know what I'm saying? Try to go get a raw slab of ribs and throw them in the microwave. That is absolutely disgusting. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to work. Some things have to be cooked a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And one of those things is your credit. Like, your credit has to be fixed. Okay? You know, you with me? Once you fix that personal credit, investing in you, you're your biggest asset. Then you turn around, you build that business credit, you get those net 30 accounts on there, you get that reporting nicely. Then you could put those two things together. You go through your business compliance, make sure you know the website, the email address, the phone number, everything is reporting nicely, right? You understand now you can go to the bank and you can start getting some capital. You know what I mean? And you can really start building your business effectively and efficiently. Then you partner up and you get the right tax professional. Make sure your bookkeeping is in place, because these are things, you know, if you're going to have an LLC, turn it into an S Corp. Now, if you're a person and you want to make sure you can, you have a 1099 or a W-2, you need that W-2 to be able to show things. Now you can have that. See, we don't have to cook the books on everything. We just got to do the strategy. You know what I'm saying? So now you can go buy the house, buy the car, because you have reportable income. And then if you take that deal and you put that deal in the trust, I'm telling you, now you're in a position where you have major assets that's growing. You've minimized your liability. You've increased your tax benefits. Now you're in a position where you can continue to scale your business up with the right estate planning, that your legacy can continue to grow year in and year out with no stress of lawsuits, no stress of losing. You don't have to hide money under the mattress or in the shoebox. There's so many different places that you can put money that's absolutely visible. You know what I'm saying? That the IRS can see and they still can't tax you. You know what I'm saying? That the IRS can see and it still won't bother you, right? So we have so many myths in our mind about money and what to do and what not to do based upon what other people has told us, but they're not professionals. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the part of the game that we got to fix in 2026. We got to take advice from professionals. You know what I'm saying? We got to talk to people that's in that space every single day, and this is what they do for a living. And I want you guys to really be able to hone in on that and be able to scale your life to the next level, man. And so this webinar was put together to be able to serve you guys with information to help you start your 2026 and take off in a big time way. And I hope you share this information with somebody else. I hope you're able to take this information and build on it and understand that you're safe with Base, right? You're absolutely safe. You know, you're in the hands of professionals who do this every single day. And as a community, this is not about watching. You know what I mean? This is about working. You know, everything we talked about was deliverables. These are doable action items. You guys feel like this information was doable, right? That you can go to some websites and you can make a phone call, get a consultation. You can work with, you know, a lending source to be able to get the capital. Like, is all this doable? You know what I mean? Are these things that's within arm's reach? You know what I'm saying? You know, we're not talking about walking from here to New York, you know what I mean, trying to get there in 10 hours, right? You know, you know, what you can't do, which is impossible, right? In 10 hours to walk from North Carolina to New York. We're talking about, can you jump on a call, do a consultation? Can you call a professional to fix your credit? Can you call a professional and say, hey, listen, my credit is good. Can you help me go get some money? Can you sit down with a professional and get a strategy and see what's the best investment strategy to come in and what's your best exit strategy to get out? Are all these things doable? You know what I'm saying? This is my question to you. And so when people say what kind of lifestyle they want to have, I want you to write this down, right? Your bills come on a residual. Hello. Everybody on this call got residual bills. You know what I'm saying? The mortgage is residual. The cell phone bill is residual, right? You know what I'm saying? The lights is residual. The water is residual. We all got residual bills, right? The car insurance, the health insurance. These are residual bills, right? We know every single day, every single week, we going to have some residual bills that's going to come through the mail every single month. They never miss our address when the mailman come around. Them bills is getting dropped off. True or not true? You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to live in this lifetime, you're going to have some residual bills. Them bills are going to come in regardless, right? And so if that's the case, then again, proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you got residual bills, then guess what? You need to have residual income. Hello. You need to have residual income. Because them bills going to come in. Every time we wake up and hit the light switch, that's a bill. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Every time we wake up and wash our face, brush our teeth, that's a bill. We go outstairs, we crank the car, that's a bill. We got to pay for gas. You see what I'm saying? I tell my kids all the time, everything we do in life comes with a cost. Nothing in this world is free. Nothing. Any of the things that we take for granted. You know what I'm saying? In New York City, with skyscrapers, the people who own commercial buildings have to pay something called air tax. Hello. Look it up. Those skyscrapers got to pay an air tax because how am I gonna get taxed for air? You know what I'm saying? Something that God created. But if you go into that business, you have to account for an air tax. You know what I'm saying? And so if you live and you have something, you know, it's gonna be a death tax. When we all leave here, that estate that you have is gonna get taxed. One more time, when we get out of here, this is why estate planning is so important, because when people pass, people have not made plans for the death. You know what I'm saying? And then they're going to tax you one more time before you get up out of here. Once you out of here, one more tax that's going to come through. That's that estate tax, right? And so when we look at this deal, if we got all these residual bills, we need to have some residual income, right? And so real estate is a great residual income model that you can leverage some of the information that you learned today, put it in a position where now you know how to go get the capital. What's the strategy, you know what I'm saying, that you can have to be able to maximize the capital? What is the debt servicing on the capital so you can manage that money in the payments? How you can use the bank's money to even pay them back. So you're not even using your money. I done use their money. I done use my credit to get their money. Now I'm using their money to pay them back. And then once I make my profit, I can pay them off and still keep a profit. What does that mean, family? You got zero money out of pocket. The biggest expense you have is to get you in position. See, if you could accept the fact that you could get in position in your life if you invest in you. So you can't be cheap in the wrong areas. You know what I'm saying? People will be cheap in the wrong spaces. You can't be cheap in the wrong area. And one thing you can't be cheap about is you. You know what I'm saying? Like my family know how I operate. If I got my last $5 and I got to make a bet, I ain't betting on the lottery. I'm going to bet on me. How many of y'all are willing to bet on you? Win, lose, or draw. You will bet on you that if you got to go to the end of the earth, you want you on your team. Like you want you. You want a person that think like you, move like you, act like you, respond like you. My father used to always say, he was a military man, he used to always tell me, you got to know who you in the foxhole with. Like you got to know who your battle buddy is that's been battle tested. When the pressure get hard, they ain't going to fold on you. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be that person that you can count on you. And that's why I'm telling you, your biggest investment is into you, to get you in the proper position, to get the right capital, to get the right mentorship, to get into the right rooms, to get the right information, to learn the right strategy. And this don't cost you nothing but investing into you. How many of y'all can invest into you in 2026? If you got your last dollar, you'll put it on you. And if you a person who lack confidence, borrow some of mine. You know what I'm saying? If you're a person that lacks some belief, borrow some of the belief of the individual that's on this team. And I promise you, collectively, we can do anything. This is a proven product of what Base has done. With a group of people get together with a made-up mind, you could build anything in this world that you want to build. But you got to build it on purpose. And I'm telling you, I am so proud of what this team has done. I am so proud of the belief that we've all came together as a community and what we've been able to do as a group of people who just had enough belief, who went through the systems, who paid the price, who scraped our knees and messed up and had failures, but we learned. My grandmother called them bought lessons. The biggest thing you could do is go through life, learn some lessons that you paid for. You know what I'm saying? That one hurt. You know what I'm talking about? You done did some things and it hurt. You know what I'm saying? But that's a bought lesson, and that's where wisdom comes from. So let's use some wisdom in 2026, and let's not procrastinate. You know what I'm saying? Procrastination is the assassination of your destination. You will kill your future in life by procrastinating. Putting off tomorrow the stuff that you can do today is one of the biggest things that most people do, that they set themselves up to fail. I don't think most people think they're going to fail. They just don't make a plan to succeed. Hello. They don't stay disciplined to the plan to succeed. I want you to write this down and take this with you as we wrap this up. In 2026, I want you to operate of the 10 before 10 rule. Moving forward, I want you to operate under the 10 before 10 rule. So Sloan, what does that mean? I want you to operate under 10 money-making activities, 10 progressive things in your life before 10 o'clock. Because the most of the money in the United States of America is made before 10. That's when the stop bell rings, the money start moving in the market. It's 9:30. Before 10 o'clock, majority of the money that's moved in this country has been made. So you need to operate like a corporation, and you need to have 10 productive activities that you get done every single day before 10 o'clock. This is a rule that I've used for the last decade and a half of my career that's helped me be a high-level overachiever and a high-level performer, because I don't procrastinate. I don't put things off that I can do. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to invest in me. I'm not going to put things off. And if I can get it done, if I got to wake up early and go to bed late, one thing for sure, the job going to get done. And when you develop that mindset and that discipline, family, it ain't nothing you can't get accomplished. And whatever you don't know, it's okay to say you don't know. It's just not okay to stay that way. Hello. It's just not okay to stay that way. It's okay with not knowing, but it's not okay to stay in that position when you can make a phone call, you can join a syndication, you can get inside of a group, you can go to networking meetings, and you can get the resources that you don't have. So this is what I'm saying about taking accountability. So I hope on this call today, you learned that accountability to self is really the key factor of this whole strategy. If you can take accountability and change your mindset, as D'Angelo was talking about, and I love what the brother said, it's not capital, it's mindset. You know what I'm saying? It's how you view money. It's what's your relationship with money. Like, are you just an overspender? Are you just an impulsive person? Like, you just don't put thought into things or budgeting, or you don't have discipline? It's the mindset. If you could fix you could build anything. For the last 2.5 years after my accident, I just devoted time to work on being a better Sloan. You know what I'm saying? Just to be a better me. You know what I'm saying? And what God blessed me to do as I got better as an individual is building some of the greatest works that I've ever done in my career, because I took time to work on the inside. As I said on my live the other day, you don't have no enemies. It's the inner me. It's the inner you that's your enemy. You know what I'm saying? So if you could fix that, come on, I hope y'all caught that. And you can get the discipline, fix the inner you, get the disciplines, work the strategy, you could build something like you never seen before, man. So I pray God bless y'all. This has been absolutely, you know what I'm saying, beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Write that one down. That's right. My inner me, my inner me, my N-N-N-N-N-E-R, my inner me, M-E is my enemy. You know what I'm saying? That's who it is. It's you. So now that you got a family, you got a syndicate that you can hold you accountable. Again, drop that in the chat so you guys can join the free Telegram group. You're going to get a autoresponder in the SMS, and then next week you're going to start getting some email responders that you can join the Telegram group, and let's go from there, guys. And so we're going to wrap this up, man. So we're going to bring all the speakers. We got 10 minutes real quick. If any of you guys have any questions, please feel free to be able to ask us in the chat. I wish it was on Zoom so I can hear y'all. I can get the energy and all that kind of jazz from you. But in the chat, if you have any questions or any responses, you know what I'm saying, that you want to put in the chat, please feel free to do so. But this was our personal give back to y'all as a community. So whether you're watching on a replay or you watch it live, I hope you take notes and really apply it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can really change your life if you change your decisions. That's the bottom line. So I'm going to bring my brother, Mr. Bilbo, back up here. I see your name up here 3-4 times. I think this one is you. Mr. Bilbo, is this one you right here, sir?
Yes, sir.
Hey, broski.
What's the word?
Everything
in the bag, huh?
Yeah, man. Another one done, brother. You got any closing remarks and wrap up, man? I want to bring you to the front for the Q&A. What Ty? I see Ty still back there. Ty, you still back there? Let me bring Ty up here.
Yeah,
We
she's
still
trying to order food for the family right now.
Oh, you trying to you over there cooking with Ty?
Up here.
All right, I got you. All right, family. So anybody got any questions for the team before we get out of here? Thank you guys for chiming in. This was our service of love. This is our labor of love today. And so hopefully you guys pull some. If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. Ty and Tara, if you guys had a closing remark, I'm gonna turn it over to you guys.
Absolutely, man. Just first and foremost, I think like my brother Sloan was saying, everything starts with a decision. If you look at your life and where you are right now, it's not because life is happening to me or whatever the case is, but it's a combination of the decisions you made that puts you where you are right now currently, right? And the great thing about that is that you have the ability. Look, Noah. But the great thing about
Noah.
you have the ability to change where you are and where you're going based on your decisions. So, like I said, you made a decision to come and spend some time with us today. And I like I said, I'm grateful for each and every one of you guys to be with us today. But the bigger thing is, man, take ownership of where you are in life. I think one of the hardest things, and I tell people, the one of the hardest things about self-development is that once you get to a point where you understand 100% of what happens in my life is up to me. It's my fault. It's my responsibility, right? That takes away the pointing the fingers, looking other directions, and all these other things that you start to look inside and say, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best. It hurts. It stings. It don't always feel good. You know what I mean? But like me and Sloan talk about, it's like you're able to say, that was me. That's on me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you get to that point, man, it's such a powerful thing because now you can re-engineer or reverse engineer your life. Now you can go back to say, hey, man, this is where I want to be in 6 months. This is where I want to be in a year. What are the steps to get me there? Right. Mm-hmm. I think if it like same thing, my old man said, if you plan to fail, you fail. I mean, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. All right. And that's a big thing, man. You got to have an outlook. You got to have a strategy. A lot of people are just going around in life and just doing things haphazardly and hoping for, a good outcome. But, guys, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how life goes. But the biggest thing is find somebody in the space that you're trying to go and just follow directions. Follow the lead. There's an expert in everything that you're trying to do. And all you got to do is be able to take good notes. And then after you take good notes, execute at the end of the day. And then the last thing I'll tell you guys, when people look at where I am now and where I'm trying to go, man, they look at it like they say the elephant, right? But what do they say? You eat an elephant one bite at a time. So if you can just continue to commit yourself to say 1% better, 1% better every single day, the compound effect of that will take you far than any one rest or anything that you're trying to do. Get 1% better, and I guarantee you look up in 365 days, you're a totally new person. Mm-hmm. So, I'm grateful for you guys being here. God has placed it on our heart to be able to give this to our community. So we just hope you guys are getting the seeds and the jewels that we dropping, because I do believe this can change some lives. So that's what I got.
Absolutely, brother. That's well said. Well said. Miss Ty Bilbo, you have anything as you are picking up the shrimp lo mein?
Yes. Yes. I just want to leave everybody with, we always wait till the tail end of something. We want to get in now. We want to get in at the early beginning, just like the .com boom. We now want to get into stocks. Well, that's already a little bit too late. So this is an opportunity for you to get in now while we're on the ground. So don't wait to try to be perfect or, my credit's not together, I'm trying to fix my own credit. You have the experts right here. You have the funding sources right here. So just like we say, there is an expert in everything you're looking for, and the experts are right here just waiting for you to say, I'm just going to jump in and do it. And that's what I had to say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, family, that's it. That concluded. It is 4:54, man. We ended on time. Ain't that beautiful?
It's timely. That's another thing. Being on time.
Being on time, man. Well, God bless y'all, man. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And stay tuned. You'll see more base advertising that come across your Facebook or Instagram, YouTube platforms. And when you see it, just peek your eyes in the door. And if it's a live event that you can get in the room to, do so. And again, if you want to participate on any level of coaching or mentorship that we gave you guys, just reach out. You know, you could DM Mr. Billboard, myself, or Ms. Ty. Go to the website. You know, look around. You know, it's running right there at the bottom of the site. Base development projects.com. Look at what we've done, right? Everything is transparent, everything's there. And we gave you guys so much inner sauce today of what's going on. You know, it's just jump on board. If you want to get involved, if you want to participate, reach out, guys, and let's have a conversation. God bless you all. We love you, man. This has been great. It's been amazing, and we'll see you on the next go around. All right, y'all have a good one. All right, peace.